Hello, everybody, and welcome back once more to Anime Yay or Nay. I am TheOutbackAl.
I'm Yin and Young.
I'm Chibi Noob.
I'm Envy Jitters.
I'm Tier Cosplay.
And I'm Cozy.
And we're back with, oh my god, it's the last week of the Sweet 16, isn't it? My goodness.
You got me excited.
Yeah. You got you excited? Yes. We're all excited.
And then you ripped it away cruelly.
Sorry. Yeah.
Viciously.
Dealing with a lot lately. If you hadn't noticed that these episodes have been delayed, they've been delayed because of, as of recording, I've spent a week so far trying to get the episodes back up, so hopefully by the time that you're actually listening to this, they're in some form or fashion up. I don't know what's gonna happen. You know what? I'm not gonna get into it right now. I'll have a thing about it later. Or before this. I don't know.
I hope for the best.
I hope by then they at least know what's going on by the time this comes out. Whatever. Elite 8, final thing, Papa Prozac, and basically Power Rangers. So this week we got back around again to, hey, oh my god, speaking of Madoka Magica versus Magical Girl Raising Project, and Sailor Moon versus Magic Knight RayEarth. How we feeling? I know how I'm feeling. How's everybody else feeling who hasn't had to deal with shit?
I'm going to say something very spicy later on in the podcast.
Spicy.
Spicy.
CC has written a total of 5 sentences and notes.
That sounds about right.
Across everything.
Across all 4.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I'm going raw, no notes.
Oh my god.
No selections on who wins anything.
Yin's
No
raw.
selections, no notes.
Also, I am freewilling it this week. Absolutely no notes because I gave up.
Am I the only one not raw dogging it today?
You're the only one.
Yes.
No, I wrote like a dissertation for these ones.
Oh, wow.
Okay, alright, well can't
Is
wait.
free-willying another term for raw dogging?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
You really ain't got nothing on it.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't worry, talk to us at any point about all the terms for how to describe a naked penis. We'll have them for you. Anyway, with that thought out of the way, let's talk about magical girls.
Bad segue.
We're off to a great start. Fantastic. Madoka Magica.
It's been one of those weeks.
Yeah. So, how do I not know what happens in Madoka Magica this week? Can I just say out the gate that the first 3 episodes of Madoka Magica, simply from editing and doing other things like that, I have probably watched more times than any other episode of television ever. So, I'm fairly familiar with these ones. In this one, we get the exposition dump of what was going on with magical girls, grief seeds and witches, and soul gems.
He's having a stroke.
Yeah, it's happened a lot this week, quite frankly. Let's not get into it. But yeah, we get to learn a little bit about Mammy, who we met last time, and then we continue the mysterious Homura being shady as shit. And then, of course, episode 3. Do I have to tell you what happens in episode 3? It's the most famous episode
We
of the
say
entire
goodbye
fucking
to Mammy.
We all
thingy.
know.
Yeah.
Bye, Mammy.
Yeah. Whole bunch of stuff happened. These were the episodes that really got Madoka to be what Madoka is, quite frankly. So, yeah. Shall we talk about it? Chibi, you said you had no notes. You better be ready to talk about some plot.
Yeah. For the plot of these episodes, I would say these are definitely still more of the establishing chapters for this story, with sort of us getting our feet wet, more or less with establishing some rules of how things work, and then also kind of more or less setting the tone for what to expect once we hit the end of episode 3, just because that's where it gets a lot darker. I have also seen these episodes a shit ton of times, so it's, yeah.
Don't you talk to me about a shit ton of times.
Yeah. As far as plot progression goes, I would say this is still, fairly slow, but I would say it's not, a bad, 3-episode introduction for a series.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've talked about Madoka, whether it be through conversation or even the times that we rewatch the episodes for Anime Yay or Nay, but I will say too that, yeah, everyone knows the twist of episode 3, even if you haven't seen the show. I feel like most anime fans know about the twist, but I like to think back to when this aired in 2011, or even, when we saw this in Anime Club back in 2013. was new to anime, so the fact that they had that big ass twist that caught mostly everybody off guard. I'm sure Al said that he called the twist, but most people didn't know what was coming. And I still think that's the most effective thing. It's like you expect Madoka Magica to be a slightly darker, traditional Magical Girl show, and then to actually see, not the main character, but a main side character just die 3 episodes in. Like, no, she's not temporarily defeated. No, she's not, injured. No, she's flat out dead. Got her head bitten off and then her body eaten by a witch. Like, to me, it was good shock value for this take, a good shock value, because it does set up the tone for the rest of the show, in my opinion. And yeah, and I'll talk about more in production, but yeah, just the whole sequence of that ending and then Magia, the ending song playing, I still think that is effective. I got goosebumps even watching it again. So it's a high yay for me for plot.
Yeah. I also want to say they had balls for killing off a mentor character, especially in a show that was supposed to be all cutesy. That's all I have.
You have because you didn't take any notes. I just want to add in here. I don't remember how exactly we ended up watching Another and Madoka together.
Voting.
I know we held a vote, but
Yes.
both of the twists happen around the same exact time. And going into it, I feel like I was one of the only people who had seen both of them. So, like, this week when we got to this shit, I was so excited just purely off of watching everyone else's visceral reaction.
I had the same experience in film school when we watched Gallipoli, because I had seen it in my high school history class.
So, like, I still kind of snicker at Mommy's death a lot. Like, every time she gets the chomp, I'm like, eh. We have really good pacing going, and we're building out a larger plot. I would say we didn't necessarily go that far in these 2 additional episodes, but that's because they're giving us a good, like, a foundation to build off of. We've established, like, consequences. We have established kind of what's going to be the driving plot going forward, which is really, in case anyone wouldn't know by this point, Kyubey trying to make Madoka and Sayaka magical girls, specifically Madoka. So, like, it did really well in the plot department.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that the interesting thing for me, as someone who's seen these so many goddamn times, I probably could have skipped this show this week, but I didn't. So, that's for you people. As for you people. I think it's interesting because you do have sort of like this yin-yang thing going with episode 2 and episode 3. I find episode 2 a little slow, quite frankly, but it does give us a whole lot of things about the world and all that sort of stuff. And then episode 3, I think, is a little bit faster paced, especially as we get later into the episode and things start really kicking up. There's a little more action in this one, but it's also far more about characters, and especially Mammy, and creating even more of a sympathetic character out of her. Of course, it's emotional manipulation because she's right about to die, but it's still very effective, and nothing for nothing, it is really strong whenever, like, yeah, that is a heavy moment, and that is a tough moment to like, have in there. So I gotta give him points for that, but, like, yeah, I like it. It's because it's sort of like, here's the happy side of what being a magical girl is. Here's the really heavy, terrible side. And it's like, we're going to have both of those together. And admittedly, the series does tend to lean a lot more towards everything's bad and everything sucks. But, like, yeah, it's interesting to rewatch because, like, despite the fact that I have seen it, I'm not going to keep saying how many times, but I wasn't doing other things while I was watching it. So it was still engaging me despite how many times I have watched it. So I gotta give it, at the very least, a light yay. I'm not that big of a fan of episode 2, but episode 3 is really fucking strong.
I agree with everyone else. I really like the pacing of these episodes, and I like that we get more about like how a magical girl operates in general, like through Mommy. She lets us see like that world, but it's also kind of like that world from rose-colored glasses. Like I feel like we're still getting it from like, oh, Cube like wants them to be magical girls, so we're getting like a look at, oh, look how fun it is to be a magical girl, and we're saving people, and you know, it comes off as like a really good thing, but there's still like an ominous overtone. Like we talk about like these wishes and getting everything you want, but at the same time, like there's going to be a price, and that's clear. So I think it does a really good job of striking that balance between like, oh, we're seeing like the great things about being a magical girl, but also it's setting up something deeper and darker. And then of course the twist, you know, everybody's talked about that. And I think it is a really good twist that sets up how the rest of the show is going to be. I agree with what everybody else said about that. And it definitely gives us, you know, a great like cliffhanger of like where the girl's going to go now without their mentor. What are they going to do? What kind of choices are they going to make? And we still have like, we're still wondering like, what is Madoka going to wish for? You know, is she going to become a magical girl? So I think it sets up a lot of good threads. There's also the thread of Homura and what's going on with her, in the conflict between her and like Mommy and the other magical girls. So I think it sets up a lot of great stuff in these couple of episodes, and I would give it a high yay for plot.
All right. Why don't we talk? We've been saying a little bit about characters. Some big character stuff happened in these episodes. Envy, why don't you tell us what you thought about these characters?
So, obviously, as someone who's seen the whole show, I know about how well the characters are and how depthful the characters can get. But obviously, with these first 3 episodes, we're still getting to know them. I mean, obviously...
I'm sorry, Envy. Was the word you were looking for deep?
Yes.
Yes.
I believe it was.
Yes. Anyway.
I like that.
But obviously, you have Madoka, who's typical shy but quiet but friendly girl. You have Sayaka, her best friend, and, obviously them figuring out that, hey, witches and magic exist. I mean, that's probably a lot to take in, too. And then Homura's the mysterious one. Obviously, later on in the show, she gets all the development, but for now, she's the mysterious character. So these 3 episodes really aren't... I don't want to say there's not a lot of character growth, but I think they're intentionally vague for the time being, with the exception of Mommy. I think the focus was on her, to be what you would think would be traditionally the mentor character, the one that was going to guide them. And obviously mentor characters are not immune to dying. I mean, look at Obi-Wan from episode 4. But he dies, towards the end of the film. Whereas Mommy dies...
Not really. Kind of dies in the middle of it.
It was towards the back half of the film, but... Anyway, semantics.
We'll check the run times.
But yeah, Mommy dies in episode 3, a fourth of the way through the show. And it makes you wonder, shit, these girls are now introduced into magic. They realize now that they could die, and this magic cat gremlin thing wants to turn them into witches against their will, basically. But with the promise of, you get a free wish, but then your soul is... They don't know that their soul is corrupted yet, but still, there's ominous signs about Cube. And, don't get me wrong, I love Cube as a villain, but he's not to be trusted. So I'm going to give a light yay for characters just because I think it's intentionally vague for these 3 episodes. And the longer the show goes on, the more they flesh out the characters.
This is one of the few notes I wrote down, is the irrelevant friend is super homophobic.
Yeah.
She thought that Madoka and Sayaka were hooking up and had a full-on panic attack about it.
Ran away screaming, "Girls can't do that with each other!"
You know something? I completely forgot Hitomi existed, and that was why Al made that joke in the abridged series.
Where did Hitomi go? Who cares? Good point. Yeah, I can't even remember her name, so...
If you guys want me to tell you things about why I made certain decisions, I can, but it's gonna take up time.
No, you're good. You're good.
No, we get it. I feel like they could have been a little less obvious with Mammy death flagging. Maybe it was warranted and that, you wouldn't expect it from this type of show, but it was getting a little annoying being like, I finally have friends! I can finally trust people again! Oh. Yeah, you're also 2 days from retirement. We get it.
Forced retirement. Is that it? So speaking of Mammy, I feel like they actually did a lot beyond characterizing her as kind of like this mentor character, because they showed us that she knows you should not want to be a magical girl, that it doesn't lead to anything good, and yet she's still adding on to the pressure and like lying to Sayaka and Madoka. Like, it's not that bad, regardless of what she knows. And it's because she's lonely, and it's out of like a selfish motivation. She wants them to join her because she doesn't want to be alone anymore, and Homura does not make for good friend.
That's fair.
We also actually get to see really subtle characterization with Homura, because we know that she knows what's about to happen, and she has no actual reason to want to save Mammy. She could give less than 0 fucks about her, but she did still try. Admittedly, she did it because she knows that's a major pushing factor for Madoka to become a magical girl, but she did try, and she didn't have to. Other than that, I feel like Madoka, we got a lot of, I'm a Mary Sue who just wants to be special, which isn't really characterization. And Sayaka is just annoying. Like, the magical girls were getting good, subtle character going on, but our arguably protagonists at this point want to hit them with the baseball bat.
I agree with like a lot of the vibe of what you're saying, but I don't agree with a lot of what you're saying. Because first off, Madoka's not a Mary Sue. Mary Sues are good at things. She is not. She's just kind of the most boring part of these episodes, quite frankly. I don't necessarily, I think I agree with you as far as like Mammy kind of like wanting them to be magical girls, which might be maybe selfish, but she also doesn't entirely know how bad her situation is. I don't think she learns until later, or I guess earlier. It's like a whole thing. She doesn't actually know.
She doesn't know how bad, but she straight up said, I would not have become a magical girl if I had had a choice.
Yeah. So I think she is just trying to impress upon them as like, look, this is your call. Be absolutely certain, because otherwise you are doing something you don't want to be doing.
She tells Madoka to trade her soul for a piece of cake.
Yeah.
I almost felt like that was a joke.
I think she was serious, man.
Okay, all right, we got
some
back and forth here. All right, I can understand that. I don't necessarily think Hitomi's homophobic. I think she's jealous. But really, okay, that first conversation is like, girls can't love girls, girls can't. But then later, when they're like, oh, we gotta go, it's like, oh, for two people to be so intimate afterwards, it kind of makes me jealous.
I think she's a self-hating gay person.
Yeah, I think she is. I think she's deep in the closet. Unfortunate for her.
Does that make the guy her beard?
Yeah, frankly, yeah. Unfortunate. Because, like, let's be real. He attracts a certain type.
And she did get upset about third wheeling. I think maybe she is jealous.
I thought the guy was Sayaka's guy.
Yeah, the whole reason she ends up going crazy is because he gets with Hitomi.
I forgot about that.
Well, we'll get there if it gets there. But
that's like Hitomi's only purpose in this whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, spoiler.
Okay, do you like realize I couldn't come up with a joke for her, so I just didn't. That's the only reason Hitomi does not get a character in the series.
She's
but
to
yeah.
steal your man.
The author said the same thing.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I mean, I think that it's good that, look, we have a lot of sympathetic characters here. I do think what they do with Mammy, even though, like, maybe there's some different elements to it, it is very strong stuff that they do. And I actually do kind of like what they're doing with Sayaka, because she is actually taking this, like, seriously and really, like, thinking about it and kind of, like, expressing her thoughts on, like, am I willing to give up my life for something? Is there something I'm willing to give up my life in exchange for? And we know what the answer is much later, but at the same time, it's like, okay, all right. I don't always like you as a character. You're a little bit on the annoying side, but like, this is good stuff, I think. So overall, I think I'm a light yay. It's just Madoka bringing it down because she really doesn't contribute to anything in her own show until much later.
Yeah, I think for me, there were a lot of things I liked about how they did the characters in these episodes. I do like that there's a lot of questions about, like, what would be worth giving up your life for, or what is a selfish wish, or, like, things like that. I feel like it's already asking some, like, interesting questions, especially, like, I don't know, sometimes these shows, like, don't get into it as deeply, you know? So I think it is, like, doing well at being, like, a twist on the genre, and not just in a we're trying to be edgy way, but, like, asking questions about, like, yeah, like, how would this work, you know, with the whole soul gem thing, and, like, this mascot who, like, gives you the ability to be a magical girl, but, like, what does being a magical girl really mean, and, like, what are you giving up in your life, you know? So, like, I think the way that the characters handle it, like, makes a lot of sense. And, like, you have, like, the two girls questioning, like, what they want to do and everything. And with Madoka, yeah, like, she's a little bit boring, but I don't know. I thought that her thoughts were sympathetic about, like, I want to help people, but she still has that bit of selfishness where she's like, I'm not really good at anything, and I want to, like, be good at something and, like, have a purpose. So I think, like, I saw some form of, like, depth to her as well. And then, I don't know, I find Sayaka's conflict pretty interesting. Like, she can be a little annoying, but I'm actually not that annoyed by Sayaka. And I always did really like her conflict. I thought it was an interesting one for sure. And then Mommy, I think, is an interesting character as well. Even though we only get her for 3 episodes, I feel like it's easy to get attached to her, just like the 2 girls did. And then I think Kyubey is, like, the right amount of, like, kind of spooky, ominous, like, what is going on here? Like, it seems like you are, like, kind of gathering these girls' souls, but at the same time, like, a cute mascot. So it's like you kind of want to trust him, but he's also, like, a little bit sketchy. So I don't know. I feel like they did a good job, like, fleshing out the characters in that way, and I enjoyed all of them. So overall, I'd give it a yay.
So for the characters, I generally don't really have, like, many issues with the characters. Yes, Madoka is a little bit boring, but I see her more as, like, kind of like she's part of the audience surrogate in a way. So she's kind of supposed to be there because, like, we're supposed to be getting introduced to a lot of stuff in these earlier episodes because she is learning about it. And as far as, like, her not immediately jumping in and making wishes, like, as she's watching things unfold, I feel like the utter terror of what is happening is probably really getting to her. So, to be honest, like, and this is maybe just a me thing, but I find her to be pretty relatable. Because, like, you don't feel like you're really good at anything, but then also, like, you want to make sure that you make a decent enough wish. But it's just one of those things where she's very hesitant, which I feel like not a lot of characters in these sort of shows, like, they're either not hesitant or they're sort of shoved right into the center of the plot. So this is more like one of those things where, like, we get a main character who's actually, like, sort of allowed to witness and observe what is going on and sort of just, like, show us, like, how this world operates. Sayaka, yeah, she's kind of annoying, but I feel like her whole conflict with liking Kyosuke and, like, that whole little, like, sort of love triangle with Hitomi, sort of, like, probably a more relatable kind of conflict for what I would say, like, teenage girls and crushes and all that sort of thing, because I know, like, finding out your crush is going out with someone else, like, for someone who is, like, young, could be, like, pretty devastating, whereas, like, if we're a lot older, I would say a lot of us would just brush that sort of thing right off. But that's also, like, her childhood friend, so those feelings, I think, go pretty deep. Mommy, I like her. She's a mentor character, and I'm sad that we didn't get to see more of her. Homura is also, like, very mysterious and interesting in these 3 episodes, and she kind of leaves you, you know, wanting to ask more of what's going on. But yeah, I would say for characters for these 3 episodes, I think they're fine.
Alrighty. Cece, why don't you take it? Do you have any notes on world building?
I do.
Oh, talk about it.
Wow!
I forgot telepathy was canon.
Telepathy.
That's it. That's the note.
I will
That's-
bring that up.
I thought, forgot that wasn't just something you made up as a joke.
Yeah, where do you think I came up with it from?
I did the same thing with 50% off. I forgot that they did the whole Looney Tunes. I told you to call me Ko. Go. That thing. I forgot that was also canon. And
sometimes the best
Nagisa's
jokes are stolen.
Skinny dipping. I forgot that wasn't S's either.
Don't look at me, there's no other
else, and I do not remember it now. Cecily just bapped all of them out of my head with her tail.
Oh dear.
Okay, cool. Kind of building off of that, there's actually a shit ton of stuff that came up in these 2 episodes that feels like it's world building. Like, oh look, the witch is like possessing people, the kiss of the witch or whatever. Witch's kiss? Witch's kiss.
Yeah, witch's kiss.
The telepathy. Like, there's so much stuff that is very cool and interesting that we're never going to see again. Like, this was the extent of where it goes. And I'm like, okay, I get that we're gonna be like really focusing on more internal conflicts of, oh shit, wait, I fucked up my life. But, you know, like, the actual element of saving others was an interesting narrative point, and I'm kind of sad this never comes back around. Also, just, okay, not getting into, like, the entropy stuff. Just based off of what we know now from these 3 episodes with, oh, there are witches and magical girls have to fight them. I could think of so many wishes that would get out of there being witches. There are so many possibilities of what someone could wish for that I know eventually we get there, because, like, Madoka's wish is essentially, I wish there were no more witches. Like, why is she the first one to try that? Why has that not happened before? And, like, there are so many loopholes here with having a wish that is basically, he can do anything, he said. So, like, the holes, they are holing.
Someone just needs to wish for, like, a simple wish, like, give me a cheeseburger or something like that. What would happen afterward?
They become the weakest magical girl.
Mommy did say, sell your soul for some cake, Madoka. I don't know what to wish for. Wish for some cake.
I'm pretty sure someone has done that.
Did you write down the thing about Homura stopping Mammy? What is Homura's exact power again?
Time travel.
Stopping time.
Thank you.
Stopping time. Why did she not stop time to get out of Mommy's ribbons?
I'm wondering.
Why did she not reverse time to get out of Mommy's ribbons?
I think sometimes it's a matter of, like, she has to activate the power, so if she doesn't do it in time, she's still stuck with whatever situation she is.
Yeah, I feel like she has to do the whole
She
thing.
didn't whip it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, does she have to turn the wheel at all?
Okay, but as soon as she's like, oh shit, Mammy died, why not turn it back there?
Oh no, she can't turn back time. She can only pause time while she's in the loop.
Right.
The loop happens at the end of the month, where she flips the hourglass back. She can only stop the hourglass.
Okay, but why not just flip it back early? Like, you already fucked up.
Because she can't actually flip it. She can only turn it sideways.
But again, she already knows she fucked up, so why not?
Because she doesn't get to
this one's
decide
too.
when she loops. It's the
Yeah,
same.
it's
It's like
like-
Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Like, you're always going to start in the same spot, and like if you make it to the end, you go back to the beginning. Unless you kill yourself, you're not going to restart.
Right, she can't choose.
And I don't think she can do that second one because then she's just dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, but again, this is something she knew was gonna happen. She knew this was gonna happen. Why not just, I'm on it. We're gonna pause before they even get to the labyrinth, and I'm gonna go take care of it. And then, boom, no dead Mammy. Okay.
Maybe this wasn't something that had happened in a previous loop?
I think it has.
That's
I
my
will say
guess.
this. It has, but also she's done this too many times, and I think at a certain point she's just like, things are going to fall the way they're going to fall. I'm going to do what I can. And there's not a lot, actually. But yeah, as far as world building in this sense goes, like, I do like the trickle of information we get. Again, episode 2, a little bit slow. But it's good that we are getting elements of, like, how the contracts work. Vaguely. How, you know, you get a soul gem, you get this. Here's some of the powers that you can have and that. Homura, obviously there's more going on here. And, like, we do get I'll put in world building as an element of like, again, Mammy's death does set up consequences of like what it is to do all this stuff. And maybe I should have talked about this in characters, but like I do like some of the philosophy things like you guys were talking about with them. And maybe that's like it's a theme, I guess. So maybe this is in production. There's a lot of back and forth that I'm going here. But yeah, I think overall world building, yay. We're also seeing that every witch has a unique design and interesting kind of thing like that. So they're organisms of some kind that are like wholly individual. So it'll at least create an interesting sort of thing. I don't know. There seems to be a little bit more thought put into this world building at this point, you can say, which compared to like a lot of other magical girl shows, not that they don't put a lot of thought into it, but at the same time, it's like, I feel like a lot of magical girl shows use sort of the element of like, these are the tropes. We know the tropes. It doesn't matter how they actually start, but they are the thing now. And I think that was part of what allowed them to get away with like, we're going to do something crazy for so long. Because yeah, you never question what the magical contract is. It's magic. Don't worry about it until like you realize, oh shit, maybe we should have asked the question and read the fine print. But
yeah, maybe I should have read the terms and conditions.
Is there even terms and conditions? Is there anything? Can I have my lawyer look over this? My mom might be an attorney.
Oh, yeah. Is it a legally binding contract? Her mom shows up. Sorry, Cube. She's a minor, so she legally couldn't consent.
That's a good point. Every single one of these contracts is null and void as a result of that. There actually is kind of an interesting thing that, like, apparently some side material or behind the scenes notes said that Madoka's mom could have been a magical girl when she was younger, but I guess she didn't have a witch at the time. So, yeah, but that's a side thing. Anyway, yeah, overall, yay for world building. Oh my god, that's why my version of QB is so hot for mom.
Oh,
she's the one that got away.
The one that got away.
The one that actually has the untapped potential.
You guys
can see him.
Okay, stop. You're giving me too many ideas right
him.
now.
Oh my god, I love it. Yeah, I would say in terms of like the world building, I don't have much to add because I feel like you guys mostly covered it. But overall, I like how they approach the world building. Like they give us little nuggets of information that like flesh out the world, but they still leave enough questions that it's like later on we can be like surprised by the consequences. So I think that's good. And we learned like a little bit about the witches, but like not enough that, you know, it ruins the ending, which is that, you know, there's much more to the witches than we know right now. So I feel like the way that they do it is really good for the whole like overarching plot of the show. I think the world building fits really well. And I think there's a lot of like extra material that I'm not as familiar with in Madoka Magica. Like I think there are books or something that go into like a lot of the other timelines and whatnot. That's interesting. But yeah, I feel like there's a lot going on in this world, like the telepathy and I forget what they said, like the familiars and stuff, like stuff that they don't touch on that much, but is still like, I don't know, part of the world and the world building that I think is pretty interesting. But I don't mind too much that they don't come up in this particular story, because I think this particular story is focused more on the girl's psyche. But it's nice to know that those things exist, you know, because it does make the world feel more fleshed out and real. Like, even if we're not seeing it all the time, like, it's something that is just there, you know, and I think that helps a world feel real.
It's like it can breathe on its own.
Yeah, like
It does make you wonder, though, why do only witches get the familiars?
Because it's a theme thing. Witches always have familiars or something.
Yeah,
just
like
saying,
cats.
knowing what we know.
So, I don't really have a whole lot to add, other than, like, yes, episode 2 is an info dump, but it's an info dump that feels organic, given, like, just how things kind of progress. So, and honestly, I'm kind of glad we got a lot of information, like, all at once, just so that way it feels like we sort of know, like, what's going on once we actually get to one of the labyrinths.
The only thing I can really add that hasn't been already added is that I like how we can assume, at least from these 3 episodes, that every witch labyrinth is something different, and obviously when you go inside a witch labyrinth, it looks like your mind is on drugs. So that's interesting. So it's more of a creativity thing of how creative do the designers get when designing these labyrinths. Outworld, in world, you can obviously say what happened to these witches that made them form their labyrinths. Like, is this a representation of their psyche? Stuff like that. So, yeah, that's the only thing I can really add. Labyrinths are cool, if not dangerous.
Yeah.
Just an escape room on hard mode.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Hey, Cozy, what'd you think about production?
The music and the labyrinth designs and animation are still iconic, especially Magica. Like, shit slaps. Character designs themselves, I really enjoy, like, the outfits and stuff, like their actual appearance. But the art style is still kinda ugly for me, as well as it could be the dub, but I do think it's overall the writing, where these girls don't necessarily feel like teenage girls. They feel like what people think of, like, a caricature of a teenage girl is. Like, I feel like we're getting just archetypes of girls at this point, which is a little grating. Again, written, directed, produced, animated, all that shit by men. So, like, not surprising, but just, I don't know, hard to actually stomach.
Can I be honest with you? That thing you said about, like, oh, they're just, like, the archetypes and this is what, like, someone thinks that this is, like, that's... I don't like The Breakfast Club for that exact reason, and everyone fights me on it. It's like the one movie where I'm like, I don't like that. I don't get it.
True.
I don't like this movie.
I don't like it either.
This is not a bunch of 15-year-olds. This is a bunch of 45-year-olds in therapy together.
Weren't you just talking about how they all look like they're, like, in their mid-30s?
She walked away from me.
Yeah.
Okay. No. Breakfast Club.
No, that was not me.
Like,
It's
they're trying to be 17-year-olds, but they all just look so old.
That's because they dress like how our parents did.
Yeah.
I mean, they might have been 30. Actors back then were usually 30.
I think they were in their early 20s at the very least, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I'm with you on that, Al. I did not like The Breakfast Club either.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's one person who doesn't fight me on that. But so this one, again, art style and animation, I'm pretty good with. The labyrinths. What more can we say? They're fantastic. I will say this. I think there was an improvement here from the last episode, these two episodes, because I actually think, like, especially for, like, Mammy explaining things and a couple other scenes, I like what they did with the lighting. The lighting and the colors throughout these episodes, I actually thought were really good. They set a really nice mood that, yeah, kind of stepped it up a notch a little bit. I liked it. It gave me a nice vibe. The OP and ED are fucking perfect. And I have to give points to, at the very end, after the credits, they show Lord Humongous from Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior. So I have tried to figure it out. I've tried looking up. No one knows why Lord Humongous is at the end of Madoka Magica episode 2. But if I could bring up a quote from Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior, there is a Lord Humongous is, like, trying to tell people to, like, surrender before he, like, destroys them, essentially. And one of the last things he says to them is, just walk away and there will be an end to the horror. And I'm almost like, are they warning us not to continue to episode 3? Just walk away. There will be an end to the horror.
I actually have kind of like a relevant but not relevant question. Do you know if the episode was censored at all? Because I feel like I remember there being more blood, but I don't know if that's just like me, like, what is the word, Mandelaing myself?
See, I don't know, because I'm trying to think of whether I'm trying to think of whether...
When her head gets bitten off.
Well, I'm gonna, if I may, we do see that from far away when it actually happens, so we don't actually see a lot of detail of the actual thing happening. I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't think you need blood.
I don't think so.
Necessarily. Because it's very clear what's happening. It's very clear that it's horrifying. It's a weird thing to think, but, like, if anyone remembers The Dark Knight, there's not really any blood in that movie. The Joker didn't need any to make it scary on some level of what he was doing. So I don't always necessarily think like blood is needed for horror. It can sometimes be good to accentuate it, but like, think about this. Alfred Hitchcock did quite a bit of horror, and all he needed was like half a cup of chocolate syrup. So
Yeah, no, it was more just like I could have sworn, but also like it's been like 10 years.
Yeah, I hear where you're coming from. I don't remember any version of it having a whole lot of if any blood. So, and again, I've watched this 70 times, so I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't recall a version that had any, like, blood spatter either.
I added blood splatter for episode 2. I remember that because I thought that was hilarious. But, yeah.
What are we on?
Production?
Okay, production. Yeah, I agree. The music in this is iconic. No notes. I think the style, even though I think the animation's a little mess sometimes, I think it does a good job of like appearing like an unassuming cutesy magical girl show. So I'll give it a pass on it being kind of meh in that way. Because I think part of it is to be like look innocent and look like what you would expect a magical girl show to look like. So I think part of it is a stylistic choice. I think the witch layer animation's still fantastic. It really like has its own aesthetic and identity, especially during like the battle scenes and everything. I love the designs. Basically what I said the last time we talked about like the magical girl designs and stuff like that. Still fantastic. So yeah, I really like the production on this, so I'd give it a yay.
Production, I know the animation and art style are kind of hit or miss, but I don't really mind it. For me, it's not something that is like ick, so I'm fine with it. OP and ED are amazing, and I listen to them a lot. The score, I love the composer, Yuki Kajira. She's actually done compositions for quite a few shows that I like, so I'm a big fan. And dubbing, as far as that goes, I don't really generally mind the dub. I think this dub is actually probably one of the better ones that I've seen. Like, and I don't really mind, like, how it's localized either, so yay for me.
Yay for me!
Yay me! Yay!
Yeah, pretty much everything that Chibi said. Yeah, I also love Yuki Kajira. How do you say her last name?
Kajira?
Kajira, yeah, I love her. She's done a lot of music for shows that I've loved too, and obviously the opening in ED. I've talked about Magica enough, but Colorful by Clarice is also fantastic as an opening song because I actually I didn't listen to the lyrics. I looked up the English lyrics, and it pretty much describes Homura and Madoka's relationship to a T. It's just that, you know, they're in Japanese, so most English people probably wouldn't pay attention to it. And yeah, I do like the animation. It's a little janted and jilty at times, but it was 2011, and I also think Shaft is notorious for janky animation, you know, so it's fine. And I do like the English dub cast, so I have no major problems with the production. I just had a quick question, Al. So is The Breakfast Club your Family Guy Godfather movie, like Peter in the elevator saying you didn't like the elevator that you didn't like The Godfather?
To some people, it's not one of those movies that I feel like is like so put on a pedestal. Like if I said I didn't like The Godfather, some people would give me weird looks. But like it's not that, but it is like I get a couple people who are like, "What? Did you not get it?" I'm like, "I fucking got it. I just didn't like it." I feel the same. I think it's like it's not the same thing, but it's like you and me have talked about Catcher in the Rye a couple times. Yeah. It's like I get it. I just don't like it.
Which is fair, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
I keep trying to. You mentioned Shaft, and I'm trying to like, can I make a John Shaft joke somehow? And I don't know how.
I mean, that is the studio's name that made it. So.
I'll say it. I think the animation's ugly.
I already said it.
I know, but it got buried in everybody else saying that they like it. I don't know how to say this. Labyrinth, I like that they did that, but I don't like how it looks aesthetically, but I think that is the point. I think they were successful in what they were doing, and like, in that I do not like to look at it.
It's supposed to be off-putting.
Yeah. So I will say that as a positive. Like, I don't like it, but that's the point. So, good on them for that. And also, the music is very good. It's been stuck in my head all week.
Yeah, same. Which is better than last week, because last week I had Sugar Sugar Rune stuck in my head.
Sugar Rune! Choco Rune!
Go fuck yourself.
It's coming back for the Elite Eight.
Don't remind me.
Yin in the car on the way to the convention was like, what did you guys watch? And we're like, oh, it was Sugar Sugar Rune. And they were just like, I cannot for the life of me remember what that one is.
Had no memory of it whatsoever.
What's it like to live in ignorance and bliss? I shouldn't be this much of a shit. It's not that bad of a show. I just don't like it.
Are you sure you're not getting it?
I fucking get it.
Going over
Okay,
your
I just don't like it. Okay, JD Salinger. All right,
Oh my God.
I'm gonna go into final thoughts before I get heated about things. The number one thing I wrote for this is it's bizarre watching these and coming up with jokes I didn't think of for the abridged series. I'm not redoing some of these things, but like I did think in the moment, you guys were talking about telepathy in that. I did not include that classroom scene where they were like, "Oh, we can all communicate," blah blah blah. And, Homer is here. Like, I didn't think of it at the time, but I wish I had included a scene where they're like, "Oh yeah, we can all talk through telepathy. We don't even have to pass notes anymore. Telepathy, telepathy, telepathy." Oh, Homer is here. Homer sucks. Yeah, she's awful. She sucks. And she just turns around and is like, "You know this is an open channel, right?"
Okay, Al. I hear you in that you're not gonna go back, but hear me. If there ever was a time to go back and add it.
Episode 2 didn't go
It is
down.
now.
It's fine.
Oh.
For now.
Oh, that is too.
For now.
Yeah, anyway, again, I'm not gonna talk about how many times I've seen this, but like interestingly enough, like I haven't like watched them in a while at this point. And it was actually decent watching them again. Like, I know every second of what's gonna happen, but it's still engaging, which is really saying something to someone who's seen it so many times. So I at least have to give it at minimum a light year. They're not my favorite episodes, and episode 2 is a little, you know what, maybe a full yay? I don't know, I'm somewhere around there. It's definitely a yay.
I'm a yay. I really like these episodes. I really like this show overall, but we're just focusing on these episodes. I do think episode 3 is, of course, like one of the most iconic ones where everything takes a turn. We got that this week. I already talked about what I liked about it before, so I don't really have much to add to my thoughts, but my final thoughts are yay.
I like this show. I like it a lot. Like, this is a magical girl show that's not like a magical girl show that's like made for the target audience for magical girl shows, but I, as someone who grew up watching a lot of them, like, I don't mind seeing like darker twists on the genre because it gives it a little bit something different, which for me, I'm like, oh, that's something to chew on. And overall, like, this show is kind of near and dear to my heart. For one reason or another, I think, because it is one of the things that we watched first in Anime Club that I think I'm very fond of it for those reasons, because freshman year was kind of like just a really good time for me, like, mentally. But yeah, this show's a full yay for me.
Are we all chasing the high of freshman year?
No.
It was I mean, it was pretty much downhill after that.
I was
okay?
in high school.
I don't know, that was a decent year for me, I think.
I mean, I can't remember back when we did episode 100, and I can't remember if I said this was in my honorable mentions, but I still think it's up there for me for some of my favorite anime. It might be in my top 20. I'd have to, really think about it, but it's definitely up there. And yeah, it, for better or worse, it was one of my gateway anime, so I'll always have that.
Yeah, I still don't like the show.
Fair.
I found it less annoying than the first episode, these 2 episodes. Everyone, like, they chilled a little bit. I know I kind of complained about the characters, but it wasn't as hard to sit through this time, I guess, because the plot was moving forward more. I do think it's just a me thing, though, so I will give it, like, a light yay. I think it's worth a watch. I think people shouldn't be, like, completely discouraged by me not liking it. But also, I don't think the show belongs in this tournament.
You've said that about a lot of shows.
Yeah, it's almost like you should have been.
What?
It's almost like more people than me should have been involved in the actual picking of the shows.
Wait, but Madoka Magica is a
I
magical
gave
girl
you
show.
stuff.
You gave me like 3
Jeeves
things.
gave you stuff. I continue to use final thoughts as kind of just like my note section. Did you have something else? You just made a really weird face.
Forgot I was gonna. You can go first. Maybe you will say them.
Do you want to read what my notes are?
Okay. I do have 2 extraneous notes. Madoka has a very creepy, like, the character herself personally. She has a very disturbing art style. Her doodles in her sketchbook. Why do they look like that? Why do they have, like, empty eye sockets? And the other one was, Mommy definitely could have got, she had so much time. She could have gotten out of the way. I think she chose. She chose to take it. Okay.
So I, again, continue to use it. It's just kind of like, these are my extra thoughts. I'm not sure where to stick. And in this one, I'm like, I think I could ship Mommy X Madoka. And then I was like, wait a minute. What is their actual age difference? Because I know Mommy is older.
Like a year?
Year, maybe
Okay, that's
2
not
at the
awful.
most.
I was gonna say, like, so Madoka's in, like, 8th grade, so she's, like, 14, and Mommy's only a year ahead.
So I think that was what it was, is like Mommy explicitly said she was in high school, and I'm like, oh, they're in middle school. Ugh.
No, she's literally
she
in the
said she
same
was a-
school. She's a
I thought she said
9th
she
grader,
was
which
in
is
her last year.
She's-
yeah, that's still middle school.
Yeah, she's a 3rd year in middle school, which would make her a 9th grader.
But in all actuality, and like in the spirit of final thoughts, so like the thing is like I did like the show at one point because I had watched it all the way through with one group of friends when it was airing, and I watched it all the way through with Anime Club. But I can look back on that now, and the kind of mindset I was in at the time where I watched this and I enjoyed it was, oh, I'm not like other girls. I'm just one of the boys. Which I think is a very big, like, demerit to this show in the magical girl genre. Like, I'm okay with subverting, like, oh, it's all happy, rainbows, fluffy, blah, blah, blah. What I don't like is that they're taking something that was specifically a space that was carved out for girls, women, or young girls aside, and they're taking that space and they're like, but why aren't we appealing to the men? Which is just something I don't really jive with at this point in my life. So I don't like it.
All right. Well, let's see what Madoka is going up against this week. It's Magical Girl Raising Project, which I hate to say this, I think was described as like Madoka but Battle Royale to me when I first heard about it.
Which is kind of accurate, right?
Yeah. So the Battle Royale has commenced. Well, it's not really a Battle Royale.
No,
yet.
No, it
It's
has
primarily like, hey, everybody, we're gonna get rid of a magical girl. Every person with the least number of candies at the end of the week is gonna not be a magical girl anymore, and then everything's all happy-go-lucky, and we meet the sacrificial lamb of what's their name? Nemarine. Yeah, I'm gonna. If you hadn't realized I was bad with names yet, you're gonna. So yeah, Sleepy Time. Chamomile or whatever their name is they only work in dreams, and they got so many dream candies, which does not equate to like real candies. If dream stuff equated to real stuff, I'd be a billionaire. But yeah, so she comes out with the least and then dies. Straight up just dies at midnight. Heart attack, dead. And then everyone's
Death
like,
Note style.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Would it have still killed her if she hadn't done Magical Girl? Like, if Fav couldn't be, like, actively talking to her?
No, I think, like, you're connected to the system, then it shuts you off, so...
Okay.
Yeah, I think they said no matter what, it's like, no, you're done, you die, that's it.
Yeah, it said something about, like, your body shuts down.
Gotcha.
We've completely rearranged your physiology and metaphysical being, so when we take it away, you're dead. And so, fortunately, they explain that to everybody, which, does that make Fab better than QB at this point? Because he's at least explaining everything,
pretty
sort of.
clear now.
I mean, they had to, like, targetedly ask about it.
True.
Well, I mean, Kyubey is a creature with some kind of sentience Fob is an AI, so...
Are they?
Also, when they do targetedly ask Kyubey, he does tell them the truth.
It's just one of those things you never think to ask. Like, hey, is this gonna kill me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's more like points to the girls for turning around and being like, hey, yo,
Yeah.
are we about to die?
To
Yeah,
be fair,
yeah, you are.
it's a result of like eavesdropping on a conversation that they weren't supposed to, but still, yeah.
No, you know what it is? It's like SpongeBob. Why didn't you tell me this was my mother's house? Why didn't you ask?
We need to bring that episode back. So
And everywhere.
So yeah, so now it becomes a thing of like, well, now we have to get candies for survival, and we're starting to see other rules being added, like you can trade candies, and then people are like, well, it appears that not only can we trade candies, we can fucking steal them. So people are setting up to be doing a little bit of like play dirty to try to stay alive in this game. So things are heating up, and yes, that's a plot. Yin, what did you think about it?
So, I overall thought the plot was pretty interesting. I don't know why, but I felt like sometimes there wasn't too much going on. Maybe it's because like we're introducing everybody in a lot of ways. So I felt like at times, like in terms of plot, it was a little bit thin. I mean, aside from the main plot points, which Al kind of already went over, like with the candies and the girl dying and all of that. But I feel like otherwise, maybe we were more just exploring like, this is this character and they have a relationship with this character who's their mentor or whatever. And, you know, like I feel like it was more about maybe setting things like that up. But overall, I felt engaged for the most part. And I do think the twist of they die in the real world or whatever was good. But I don't know, sometimes it felt a little, I don't know, flat to me, like not as interesting as it was the first time I watched it maybe. Like, I don't know how to describe why it felt a little flat, but it just like, I don't know, maybe it is because it's just like the little guy is just kind of tricking them, but also it's just like, well, we can just blame him. I don't know, like there's not too much like intrigue. It's just like, it's kind of all his fault. He kind of reminds me of like the bear in Danganronpa. I don't know, like it's kind of that sort of like setup to me, which isn't maybe as interesting as like how Madoka did it, in my opinion, where like it almost feels like Kyubey kind of tricks them by using like their own desires and, you know, just like deeper down stuff, like character driven stuff. This one, it just outright feels like trickery, you know, and I just maybe don't find that as intriguing. But overall, I'd say I still enjoyed it. So maybe like a meh kind of for plot.
So I remember watching this when it first came out, and I remember watching it week to week and being like really interested and sort of like wanting to know, oh, what's going to happen next? Because once they like sort of got the ball rolling with episode 2 and then Nemarine dies, it was kind of like, ah. And then when episode 3 happened and we kind of got like a lot more backstory stuff going on with like Ripple, and then we got some more character stuff with like Top Speed and just like some other characters from Ruler's team, like that was all like very new to me. And since this is like the second time around, like I'm sitting back watching it for the second time, I agree with Yin. This is feeling a little flat. And maybe it's just because like it doesn't feel quite as intriguing, or because I already know where it's gonna go, that the plot is kind of maybe losing me a little bit. But I would say like progression wise, it's going at a steady pace. But it's not really like, and again, this is probably because I've already seen this, it's not really making me go, oh, like, oh my god, what's gonna happen next, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I'm kind of a meh myself as well.
I'm going to say for this category and the characters category, it's going to be a little hard for me to judge because I have seen the whole show and I know what the show turns into. Like episodes 4 through 12, but especially the back half of the show is basically slippery slope the anime, because it basically turns
just
into...
so everyone knows, I am might be the only person here who has not seen the show at all, so let's be careful on
Excuse me.
spoilers, just in case.
Yeah, I won't spoil.
Excuse me.
Wait, have you not seen it?
I won't spoil it, but yeah, I know what it turns into. But I will say, I did find the plot's interesting personally. I mean, you expect, if you don't get enough candies, you can't just use the app anymore. You just can't be a quote-unquote magical girl anymore. No, you dead. It's like, oh, okay. Well, that's a twist. I mean, yes, were they probably inspired by Madoka when they wrote this show when they wrote the manga back in the day? Maybe. I know it came around near the same time that Madoka was written, but whatever. And then episode 3, it's kind of, the aftermath of that. It's like, shit, someone died. What's going to be the strategy going forward? It's like, how do we collect these candies? Like, you already see the cracks starting to show of, instead of trying to earn the candies fair and square, let's just try and steal them. And so it's the human condition kind of thing, where it's like, how low are people going to go to survive? So I do find that kind of interesting. So yeah, I give it a light yay for plot.
Yeah, like everybody said so far, it's hard to say this knowing where the show goes. And even when I was watching it for the first time, I did go into the show knowing the basic premise. Because it would say in the show description, there would be warnings and age restrictions. So it is going to get dark, and it becomes more of a game of okay, how does it get to that point? And they're trying to make it episodic so you can care about each character, but just getting all these backstories makes it very slow. It's okay, wait, when does this get to the dark stuff? From what I can remember, Snow White isn't she's technically the main character. I think I said to Cozy, she's the main character in the same way Piper's the main character in Orange is the New Black. We're with her at the start and we see her character through, but a lot of episodes aren't about her. They're about other people and what they're doing. And there's 16 of them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's 15 now, and then we're getting another one. And that's a lot of characters to care about.
Yeah.
Especially in 40 minutes. It's okay, I gotta learn all of these people and then care about them. And then maybe we can get to them killing each other. It's just, it's kind of slow, but I don't know how to fix that.
Someone hasn't watched a bunch of seasons of Great British Bake Off.
No.
Yeah, so I am in agreement. This feels very episodic of, here are the 3 to 4 girls we're focusing on, but for having the plot center so heavily on just a select group of girls and being based on their characters, it's really failing. It's falling flat on its face. I've never seen this before. I don't care about any of these characters at this point. And again, these are episodes that are based on the characters. I just feel like they're really failing at giving us incentive to care about them as people. We were shown flashback of Ripple and the Witch. Yeah, we were shown them meeting. It doesn't really give us much beyond what we've already seen of their characters that's already established within just having them sitting in a chat room. We don't have any motivations for them. We didn't get anything out of this. These episodes were just kind of nothing burger. Or what is it? None pizza, left beef.
What's the beef?
Meatball.
They had an idea in there.
Gotcha. You say you don't care about any of the characters. What about the boy?
No.
No?
No.
I think he's so cute. He's
Hugh
I just
Grant
want to
movie?
be a magic.
I liked a singular character, and I will get into that in characters.
I had fun with these episodes. Maybe it's because I've never seen them before, but I don't know. Here's the thing. I do. First off, let me tell you what the best quote of this entire week was. Top Speed saying, "I can't believe this is going for another 8 weeks." I'm I'm right there with you, sister. I'm right there. So yeah, no, just was ooh, no, you're reminding me that I set this up. Okay. Yeah, no, we're killing people off in episode 2. Good that we're getting to this and that. Yeah, you're right. They're not really setting up characters a whole lot, but like I, as a fan of things like Battle Royale and a number of the Fates series and some of those things, I do like what I'm seeing so far of like we already have some alliances going. We have like some conflicts that are being set up. It's like this is the calm before the storm, and I like a lot of what I'm seeing or what is building up to, at the very least. So I'm kind of a yay here. It could fall flat on its face, but I don't think it did this week. How's everybody? You started?
Yeah.
Okay. Characters. Chippy, why don't you take us into that?
Okay, so for characters, I would say for like these couple of episodes, we kind of more or less focus on like, we do have our like main 4 that we're like primarily focused on, that are like our main sets of characters, but we do have a good spread of some other characters as well. We got to see a bit of Nemurine right before, she was unalived, because we need to like at least get to know her a little bit for like the impact of her death to be felt. To what degree probably varies person to person. And then third episode, we got a bit of Ripple and Top Speed, and kind of more establishing like their sort of partnership, mentor-mentee kind of relationship. Top Speed being basically a mom and always bringing food. And then we also got a good bit of Ruler and her crew, and sort of like kind of establishing like their group dynamic, with her being the very bossy leader, Swim, who's kind of an airhead and is basically like very much Ruler's follower because she can literally quote her verbatim. The 2 little angel twins, who are annoying as hell, and Tama, who I just want to give Tama a hug. Tama doesn't deserve to be with them. Tama deserves better friends. And then we also get a little bit of Cranberry, who is the forest musician. Like, we don't really get a lot of her, but she seems to be more in the know of what is going on than the rest of them. And yeah, I agree with Cozy that it's very hard to like get attached to these characters when so little time is spent with them. But it's kind of where not really focused necessarily on the girls themselves. We are very much focused on the situation that they're in. So as far as like actually really developing them, we're not going to really probably get a whole lot in the way of doing that until we get further into the series. But yeah, as far as characters go, I would give them probably like a high meh. Mostly because like there is stuff being done to establish things about them, but it's not quite as much as we could get. Granted, there's like 16 of them, so there's a lot of work to be done.
Overall, I would say that these 2 episodes almost felt kind of like set up for the rest of the show. Like, you're getting the group dynamics or the partnerships. You're getting you're going to basically get the characters. You're going to basically guess of, who's going to die next in the character slot. It's like, it's not like, Survivor or Total Drama. It's like, who's going to be eliminated next? It's like, who's going to die next? And you kind of guess that with the characters. And I like Snow White and La Pucelle's dynamic. I thought they were cute together. The characters that were their archetypes, but I didn't mind them. Well, like I said, most of it is kind of set up and kind of responding to, the chaos that happened with the end of episode 2. And even though, she didn't have much development, I still felt sad when, Nemurine died, because she died and she seemed like a nice girl and she died. So, there's always that sympathy points of, oh shit, she died.
Say it one more time.
She died. She died.
She died?
She did.
I thought she was asleep.
She's gone, Jim.
I just want to note for the record, Cece keeps reaching for the notes like she actually took any.
No, I'm reaching for my thoughts. Sometimes you need to physically grab them,
Okay, we'll stop physically grabbing the note paper. There's nothing written there.
But she can see the stuff that should have been written there.
It's in invisible ink. I agree with everything that is being said, except for Cozy saying that everybody sucks. I will say La Pucelle does not suck. I love that this little boy is like, everybody makes fun of me for liking magical girls, so, like, I didn't stop, I just kind of made it a secret. And now I get to go, like, be an actual magical girl. It's like, I'm gonna be 6 feet tall and have a huge rack. I'm like, same kid. And I just really love that for him. That he gets to live this out, finally.
Yes.
And their power is I can make my sword as big as I want.
Yeah!
Okay, I did not say he sucked, I said he's uninterested.
Alright, that's fair.
Is that all you got?
Yeah.
Also, you would not like a giant rack.
If it was something I could, like, take on and off. Like, he just puts it on at night.
They make
and
those.
he can put it back down.
They make those. You
Chest plate.
got a birthday
the
coming
silicone
up?
chest plate. You gonna drop $200?
No, I was just asking. It's like,
I mean,
hey, you want
kinda.
one? I'm not gonna buy one. I'm just asking if you want one.
I should ask my parents for one for Christmas.
Yes.
Like some F cups.
Would you do that or the man one?
Okay, no los dos.
Yeah.
They're not dropping $400 on you.
Look,
Birthday and
there's
Christmas,
birthdays,
there we go.
there's Christmas, there's so many holidays. Arbor Day, come on, man, the most underrated holiday. Someone get to talking about stuff.
So, my notes in order were, oh, I actually like Nemarine. Nemarine is my spirit animal. Nemarine's gonna die, isn't she? within the same, span of a thought. As soon as I like a character, it's over for them. It's always been Shoujo.
Well, your odds are not great in a show like this.
That's true.
Yeah.
No.
What Envy was talking about, where it's like, oh, yeah, you're not actually like, oh my gosh, I hope this character I like survives. I really just spent the remainder of the episodes going, okay, I think this is who's gonna die and this is why. And right now I'm narrowed down to Ruler the dog girl. But I don't think that speaks well for characterization. I don't really care about any of them. Like, any of them could die. And I'd just be like, nah, sucks to suck. The one I liked is already dead.
Did you look up what happens? General plot, not specific characters.
Yeah, I did not look up who lives or dies. I just wanted to know why the game was happening.
Who tells your story?
Yeah. I had to know if this was like a Kyubey situation or a Danganronpa situation because I was getting a little mixing of both in the flavoring. I won't say what it is, but it's worse than both. I will say that.
Oh, dear.
It's impressive to be worse than both.
Maybe we'll get to there in world building.
But yeah, I don't like any of them. They're like fish, like dead fish.
I feel like I'm the only one who was enjoying the show while he was watching it. I think
I
Top
like
Speed.
the show.
I think Top Speed's a lot of fun. They're my favorite right now. They're probably gonna die next, but yeah, I thought they're fun. I like how they have like little rhymes every time they see someone. Like, you're annoying, but in a funny way, where it's funny because I'm not the one you're being annoying to. So, yeah, everyone here is a stereotypical stock archetype character. And I'm fine with it because I do find it kind of fun. Like, yeah, no, I'm not getting in here thinking like, ooh, I'm going to like really attach to these characters and stuff. Like, no, I'm here to watch a couple people die. But at the very least, I'm hoping they're going to be entertaining before they die. Chibi, I got to disagree with you. I love the twins. I think, again, they're annoying pieces of shit, but it's going to be really fun. I'm waiting on the moment that they decide to go to Ruler, and Ruler's like, you will act a certain way when you're in my magical girl club. And they're like, screw you and your magical girl club. We're going to make our own magical girl club with blackjack and hookers. In fact, forget the magical girl club.
Okay, Bender.
I mean, I don't know. I had fun with it. Again, a lot of people are death flagging. If La Pucelle makes it past episode 6, I will be shocked. Because they are white knighting so hard, they are going to die so bad. But
La Pucelle and the witch.
yeah, Top Speed ain't going to make it. I know Top Speed ain't going to make it, but still, they're my favorite right now. Yeah, everyone's basic as hell. But so far, they've been fun enough for me. I'll give it a light yay.
Yeah, I feel like all of these are just like a collection of tropes in really cute costumes. I think what's like most memorable about them is how they look. You know, they all have their little themes, which is fun. But I do think personality-wise, they're all kind of one note. Like, I don't know. A lot of them feel like cannon fodder a little bit too. They're just kind of there to die, which is fine, I guess. But like, I don't know how many y'all feel attached to or like really care when they die. I guess I do like the, what's the name of the little boy?
La Pucelle?
I do like La
Soka.
Pucelle. I think she is the highlight or whatever. But the other characters, I don't know if there's just nothing much for me to connect to. Maybe it's because La Pucelle feels like I know the drive a little bit more, or like I know something about the character beyond their magical girl trope. I think that's why I find them the most interesting. Whereas everybody else, maybe there will be an episode down the line that explains them better. Like I feel like I remember like certain episodes focusing on certain characters. So I feel like it might get better later, but just from these episodes, it's kind of a meh for me.
All right. Envy, why don't you tell us about your world building thoughts?
Again, it's a slow build-up. I mean, episode 1 was introducing the world, the characters, that each one's got a different characterization and power-ups and costumes and stuff like that. Then the system is like, shit, we got too many in the server. We got to find a way to thin the herd. Let's add the candy system. And then the world building is like, oh yeah, who has the least amount of candies dies. Okay, and then the girls are like, shit, what do we do now? And so I think it's more of setup for the rest of the show. So, and I do agree with Cozy, you know, we don't know why the system decides to do that until very later in the show. So I won't give spoilers, but as far as setup for the 3 episodes, I think it's a good setup for the rest of the show. I think it'll keep you interested. And like I said earlier, it makes you wonder, like a reality show, a sick, twisted reality show. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. The worst kind of reality show. There are sick, twisted reality shows
Squid
in
Game.
real life.
It's Squid Game.
Yeah, well, yes.
No, it's more like,
Hunger Games?
no, like if Jersey Shore, they got eliminated at the end of every week.
You don't think that would make the show better?
Not if they were, like, shooting them point blank.
Okay, all right.
We haven't gotten there yet.
Well, yeah, overall, I'm a light yay for world building. I think it sets up the world enough to where, for me personally, I was interested to see what happens for the rest of the show.
I'm really curious on, like, what's the exchange rate on candies? Like, they were throwing out some numbers at some point, and they did not feel equivalent. It was like...
They got 400 for saving people from a burning building.
Yeah, but they also got, like, 180 for burying a landfill.
Trash, yeah.
I think that's collectively across all of them, though. I think both Snow White and La Pucelle both got 400 apiece, so it's more like 800 for saving people.
Okay, maybe. I was just thinking, this is why I should write stuff down.
Any system's going to be
Oh,
weird
you mean
because
like
it's
I
like
told you?
it's trying to put on a number of like how do you measure the value of a human life? It's going to be flawed no
Yeah.
matter what.
Being rewarded for charitable deeds, therefore makes it uncharitable.
You know?
Oh, I want to know more about, like, how their personas come to be. I feel like it is something to do with them, maybe subconsciously, but then Fab is the one that, like, actually gives them their powers, right?
I think they choose an avatar in the game and then they just become it. So it's more like a customizable character. So kind of yes and kind of no.
I mean, but their powers are like unique to each of them, I think, is what Cece's saying.
More just the point I'm getting at is kind of fucked up that Fab gave neoprene, or she made her powers to, like, go into people's dreams and, like, help them work through their nightmares. And then it was like, okay, but actually none of that counts. So, outside of dreams, she's, like, not even a magical girl. I don't think she had any other powers. And she's supposed to be,
No.
like, pulling her weight with everybody else. It's stacked.
Yeah, it is. I think it was more they had her character operate in such a way so that they would easily have someone to eliminate right off the bat.
Could have been the dog
Just
girl.
so that way they... Yes, basically. Just being like, okay, that's our first kill.
How did the dog girl survive? Because wasn't there a whole section where it's like, what did you get? And she's like, I didn't get anything.
I think they were kind of like pooling their candies, everybody in
Yeah.
that club.
I don't think they could do that yet.
I thought they did.
No, I don't think they could do that yet.
Okay, maybe not pooling, but I think by working together,
Yeah,
each one was
they do
picking
split
up
up a
most
little
of the
bit.
slack.
Maybe she
Yeah.
picked up dog poop like the last day.
Maybe.
It was hers.
It was
I mean-
hers. Yeah. That was exactly where I was going with it.
I mean, she still did get some. Neapolitan got nothing because none of her candies counted.
So, kinda same thing here I had with the issue of Madoka's world building. When you look at it as a whole of, you have to participate or you're gonna die. You can't just quit. What if they all collectively refused and got last place?
They all die.
Mm-hmm.
Or what if it goes to sudden death?
I don't think that's what Fav actually wants, because the intent here seems to be to torture and prolong.
Then you have a bit of a prison what is it? The prisoner dilemma?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, because if
Talking
you
about the Stanford?
No,
prison
not
experiment?
specifically that. No, it's a sort of thing of like, if we all collectively do this sort of thing together, we will all win. But if one of us doesn't do that, they will win and the rest of us will lose. Do you then do that thing because you're worried someone else will? Or do you stay with solidarity?
Okay, I'm just gonna say they did this better in The Circle, which is a Netflix original movie that sucks.
Not movie.
It's a series.
The Circle?
The
Not the
Circle,
reality
that's the
show?
social media
No,
reality
the one about
show.
the alien invasion,
Oh.
where they're all
okay.
standing in a circle.
Okay.
I also
thought
thought
you were talking
you
about the
meant
competition.
The reality show.
I think there's probably a different name, unless I'm crazy.
That is The Circle, the reality show. I don't know about this movie, though.
I don't know the movie.
I don't know. We watched it together when it came out. The guy at the very end is like, oh, we'll both step out so the little girl lives. But then he doesn't, so the little girl dies.
I
Yeah,
have no idea what you're talking about.
No, we watched this together.
yeah, but it doesn't mean they remember it. But yeah, it does sound like the prisoner's
Yeah.
dilemma.
I think in a sample size as big, you're going to have too many selfish people that they won't.
Yeah.
They'll be like, okay, so you're all in last place and I take the candy.
Yep.
Again, I think there's a lot of loopholes you could get in a system like this. Especially, they haven't introduced killing each other yet. I mean, I guess essentially if you steal someone's candies, you're murdering them in a sense, but like, no, not obligate murder, but what is the word I'm looking for?
Manslaughter.
No, like, express murder. It's like murder by proxy.
Yeah, sure.
At that point, there's a huge difference between letting someone die of a heart attack and going and like stabbing them a million times.
Yeah. I didn't kill you. I just let you die. The Batman philosophy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, again, I don't think they have a great foundation here for what the world they're trying to build is. And it could get better based off of what I know. I don't think it will. But it could.
Again, I'm the only person who enjoyed this show.
I enjoyed the show.
I'm saying things for hyperbole, man. Come on.
Being critical of media does not mean you do not like it.
I was kind of a yay here. I like the idea of a system thing. I like all that sort of stuff. It is both like comprehensive, but also vague enough that they're going to be able to throw a whole bunch of like things around at them. And I think you are right. There are plot holes and like loopholes that you could be trying to do with these things. But I do raise you again. The prisoner dilemma thing kind of puts you in a position of like all it is going to take is one selfish person, of which I think we have a few in this group that would screw up that plan completely. So, but I like the idea that we're like setting stuff up with like the idea of stealing candies and all that sort of stuff. I like that they're essentially creating possibilities for different strategies that will help the plot moving forward. I'm not surprised that people aren't asking more questions about the systems, because I think at this point they're just like, I'm in survival mode. I don't know what else to do. So yeah, I was kind of a yay here. I'm interested to see, because the world is setting up stuff that I think will make the plot more interesting. Unless it goes completely downhill. Full possibility, but I don't know that yet.
I don't have much more to add about world building. We're on world building, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, to me, it's kind of whatever. I feel like I was meh on a lot of stuff with this particular show. I think the world building was fine. I think they explained things in an okay way. Like, it's not too like info dumpy or anything like that. But I don't know. It doesn't feel like it was done like particularly badly or particularly well. I just felt sort of neutral towards the world building. Of course, I like how the world is, like the magical girl battle royale stuff is fun. I can see like eventually they're gonna start killing each other because of these, candies. There can only be half of them or whatever. So I can see how it's going to escalate eventually. But yeah, I like the setup of like there can only be so many magical girls and stuff like that. And it being like on the phone, the whole like mobile game aspect is fun. So like I like certain things about this world, but it doesn't super impress me either. So I'm gonna go like maybe a meh to a light yay again. Like that's how I feel for the most part with this.
This is gonna turn into Highlander. There can only be one.
Yeah, maybe at the end there can only be one magical girl.
Yeah, I don't really have like a whole lot to add. As far as like world building goes, like we got some stuff. I don't really feel like we got anything like really groundbreaking. Yeah, I'm also pretty much a meh here as well.
All right. Cece, why don't you take us into production?
Cool. Cece actually penciled in a note for this. It is
pen.
It is 4 words.
Well,
They
let
are
us know
just
what they are.
Notes, so that I don't forget them in the 48 seconds I had. I like half of their outfits. They're cute. I don't like their eyes. They're kind of bug-eyed in a way that, like, makes them all look really young. Sure, we brought this up last episode. And I think I must have watched the sub when it was airing, because I don't remember Mary talking like that. She's such a caricature.
It's high noon.
Yeah, so it's just...
Well, howdy, y'all.
If you were watching this as it was coming out, you were definitely watching it subbed, because so was I, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. She started talking, I was like, oh!
Hey, Patrick, what am I? Stupid? No, I'm from Texas.
Okay, listen. That episode actually, it was playing our last day in Texas as we were moving out. Yeah, like, the animation's fine. The art style is not great. They, like, even the old people, like...
The old people, do you mean the 20-somethings?
Yeah. Like, I know Mary at least is older. I know some of these people are older. They're not all, like, high schoolers in avatars. But they still look really, really young. Like,
Okay.
underage.
For Mary, I raise. She is like a depressed alcoholic who's trying to relive her glory days. Maybe she wants to look younger.
How about that,
You're
young?
giving me some spoilers
Maybe
here, and I don't like it.
Maybe she should wear less,
I'm sorry, did you
Fuck her
think
makeup.
the cowboy one who's slinging guns in, like, is in a bar room is not an alcoholic?
I just thought she was
She
American.
could also... Yeah, she could also be a 12-year-old boy.
Honestly.
Just based on that.
Honestly.
She could.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna, like, hard disagree with you when you're like, oh yeah, a lot of their outfits are cute.
Not all of them.
Almost all of these character designs are wildly inappropriate for young girls and portraying young girls. I get that with the sections where we spent time with other characters, we're trying to, like, build them up and stuff. But with them failing to really build any, like, actual characterization out of it, the time we spent away from Snow White, because again, the plot is really only moving forward when we're with Snow White, it felt wildly out of place and jarring, and kind of just like they were padding out their runtime, which this is only 12 episodes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so we really didn't need any padding. Like, just shorten it down to 10 at that point, honey boo boo. Like, scripting, it's just a mess. I'm sorry. Like, whoever wrote this really needed to maybe have an editor, a beta reader, a summoner to be like, hey, it could use some work. You know, just someone to bounce ideas off of. Again, I'm fine with the subversion of like all fluff and rainbows. But again, this is male gazy. This is made for men by men. And it's not really a magical girl anime. It doesn't belong in this tournament, in my opinion.
Okay, so I think everything's fine. As far as, like, animation goes, it's fine. There's nothing to write home here about. The music, OP, and ED, I'm whatever. I don't remember them being bad. I don't have a lot
do you
to say
remember?
about this. Yeah, I think the one thing that like it's like that is distinct about it is like, yeah, no, there's a lot of people with like giant chesticles with not a whole lot of coverage. A little bit weird. I do like that everyone has their own individual theme, which is nice. I mean, I was not expecting a show where I was going to get a cowboy and a knight and a ninja and a witch and a robot. The robot, I think, is great. I actually think that's a good design. It's like an Astro Boy kind of thing. I like that one. But
her lack of character makes sense, too.
Oh,
with
yeah.
Her character.
Yeah. I think her character is, I like money. Like, you know what? I remember you from that Magical Boy show. So,
That's his side gig.
Yes.
I'm in too deep.
It's just a cosplay. He built it out of tinfoil and Warbler.
That's funny.
Warbler's too expensive.
Hey, you know what? You got to spend money to make money. So yeah, I'm meh. I guess I don't think it. It's like it's not doing anything that like I hate to say this. I've seen so much anime that has just so many unnecessary tits that it doesn't even faze me anymore. I hate to say that, but yeah, it's like this is not doing anything that I'm gonna like feel one way or the other about, quite frankly, at this point. So meh.
You're also not a woman.
No. But if I downloaded this app, maybe I could be.
Exactly.
Could I add on really quickly? They did have a moment where the ninja's like, ew, what am I wearing? Oh, I don't like. Pretending to acknowledge it, but then going forward with it anyways is not actually like, hashtag feminism. Like, that's just insulting. That part really bothered me.
I continued to feel neutral in this section. I don't know, like, I kind of felt like Al, where like nothing in particular stuck out as like anything really, really good or really, really bad. I don't know. I don't even remember the ED in the opening, so that says a lot. The animation, I don't care that much. I mean, it looks fine, I guess, but yeah, they are a little weird looking. I don't know. There's just not much to write home about for me in production-wise. It just feels like it's made in a competent way, but nothing super like stylistically artistic or something where I can say this aesthetic is really interesting or anything. It's just fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm also pretty much a meh here as well. The only thing that really stands out to me that I actually like is still the ED, because it is by an artist that I do actually listen to. So that was like the only real thing that I have of note here.
Chibi, how does the ED go?
Do you see the light ahead?
Oh wait,
See
yeah! Now I remember it.
So far away, so far away.
Oh, so far away. Okay, yeah, I remember that.
Nope, nothing for me.
I do remember it now.
I don't think I've ever heard that.
Yeah.
Listen, for as much as I have actually listened to the 2 songs that are on that EP, I've listened to that song quite a bit.
I don't know. I didn't mind it. I mean, I liked the animation. I thought it was fine. As far as the costumes go, the only one I was really, like, even back in the day when I saw this in 2016, even I was like, Ripple, you don't want to put on a jacket or anything? Like, even beyond the whole sexy girl thing, it's like, aren't you cold?
Especially on the back of Top Speed's broom.
Yeah, it's probably cold.
Going at Mach speeds. Like, imagine hitting an insect.
Ew.
Yeah,
No, like,
Always wear a helmet when you fly.
if you are on a motorcycle going at like 50, an insect can like puncture into your flesh, which is why you're supposed to wear leather. So like, imagine going faster than that.
yeah. But yeah, I do agree. Ripple's character design is definitely for the male gaze, as they say. But yeah, overall, I didn't mind the other costumes, and I thought I forget the girl's name that's the dog. I thought that outfit was kind of cute. But yeah. So yeah, I'm kind of a light yay for production.
Kind of bouncing off something. Who was it that pointed out that they made their avatars?
I think I did. I think that was brought up in episode 1. Or at least chose them.
Ripple designed her avatar that way then. She is the one who chose the outfit.
Okay, when you choose a character in a video game, you might not expect to end up in that outfit.
I am not putting tit armor bikini on my characters in games.
Yeah, but I think that's because you expect to become them someday, don't you? Because you've watched this show.
Obviously. We're cosplayers. Yes.
You could have waited 2 seconds.
No. Also another side note, I'm pretty sure when this was airing, we referred to Ripple as not Homura.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is
No,
not Homer.
I thought we referred to her as Discount Homura. She was the
Maybe
first
that was
Homura
it.
Light.
She's both.
Homura Light.
I'm trying to remember. Did I just call her Ninja Homura last time we watched this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
that makes
Probably.
sense.
She's all of the above.
Yeah. Hey, Cozy, why don't you give us your final thoughts?
So for notes on this, I really just put head empty. It's really kind of just rehashing what I already said for Madoka. This is very for the bros and not the hoes, so we don't like it.
We should say very specifically, this is for the bros, not the boys.
Not the boys, for the bros. Like, the bros are like in a fraternity together.
The boys are watching Princess Tutu.
Damn right, Princess Tutu is for the boys.
Are those your final thoughts?
Oh, I thought you were gonna have more. Sorry. Yeah. I think overall, like, I do like the setup for this, but it might just be a result of the fact that I like battle royale type scenarios. I feel like I'm looking forward to seeing the different strategies and stuff that people are about to do ahead in this competition, and that is interesting to me. There's a bunch of alliances, there's a bunch of wild card possibilities here, there's a lot of things that can happen, and I'm like, oh, at this point at least, disregarding what you guys may have said about like what will come later, at this point I'd be like a yay, yeah, I would want to see what happens next.
I think I felt more positively about this the first time I watched it, and I'm not sure why. I think this time I don't dislike it, but I felt kind of neutral about most stuff happening. Maybe it's a mood thing, I don't know. I feel like it would be a better binge than like watching it weekly or anything like that. I feel like if I sat down and watched all 12 episodes at once, I'd probably enjoy this a lot. But like watching it so slow, it's just like, I don't know, I need more from it. And also, like, if I'm gonna watch something slow, I have to care about the characters. And I feel like that was lacking for me. Like, I just feel like it's a very, like, a plot or action-driven show. And when I feel like the plot or action is not plotting and not actioning, it's just not very interesting for me. So, I don't know. I feel like it was kind of a meh for me overall.
For me, also as someone who has seen this before, I have similar thoughts to Yin, where like the first time around I was pretty into it, and I honestly feel like it was more of like me wanting to know what was going to happen next. And now, because I have seen it, I'm not quite as intrigued about what's going to be going on, and honestly everything feels a little flat, which when you're watching it in the moment, like for those who are invested, like it probably doesn't feel that way, but like going back on it, I would definitely say it's a little bit boring, to be honest. So I would give this a meh.
I mean, obviously I watched the whole show, but if it was airing today and, you know, I'm the seasonal anime guy, I will say, to me, I think it passed the 3-episode test. I would give it, at the time, another 3 episodes. So that would be 6. And I think by then, I think there was enough in the show to keep me hooked for the rest of the airing. So, yeah, I would say it's a yay for final thoughts.
Wait, you do have notes for this one.
I do have notes for this one. I'll get to those in a second.
Oh, it's not.
Yeah, so like Chibi and Yin were saying, I did enjoy this as it was airing. Little more neutral towards it now. I can at least point out its flaws. But I know why I liked it back then, and it's because this aired in 2016, and that was a very, very bad year for me.
Mhm.
I feel like that's also like the biggest year where you were maybe questioning your gender as well.
I think that had come up a little bit before.
2016 is when you really leaned into it.
Yeah, that is when I had a major panic attack and
Is
cough on
that-
my hair.
Is that why you like La Pucelle so much?
Trans icon. So my one and only note for the show was the opening shot for episode 2. I was like, oh my god, I had that pearl pink Nintendo DS Lite. I had that same one. It made me so happy to see it on screen. I don't know if I would recommend the show. Like, I did give Madoka, like, it's worth a watch. I don't know if this one is or not. I guess that's more of a personal opinion on if it sounds like something you're into. I enjoyed it at the time. I am seeing more issues with it now that I am more emotionally stable, I guess, and a decade older.
I have a fully formed frontal whatever.
Cortex?
I don't know if it's the cortex.
Something.
What is it that finishes maturing at 25?
Frontal lobe.
Is it just the frontal lobe?
Brain bits? Regardless, I guess overall I'd give the show maybe a light yay, but I don't think it belongs in this competition.
Okay, and now we get down to the voting. I'm starting us off. As far as plot goes, I'm going to let you know right now that I think some of my decisions here came as a result of I've seen one of these shows 70 fucking times, and this is the first time I've seen the other one. So I will admit that maybe I'm a little biased in that regard, unfortunately. I went with Magical Girl Racing Project on this one. I think at this point right now, I'm a little more interested in the possibility of the strategies and the different kind of like battles that we're going to be seeing moving forward, and I like the idea of the setup that we have so far with the characters that have been established right now. So I'm going that direction.
I'm gonna make it easy for ya. It's a sweep for Madoka Magica for me.
Oh, okay, we're gonna have a sweep. I get to be all silly about the sweeps again. Okay.
Sweet for Madoka for me as well.
Oh my goodness, okay. This is gonna be great. I can't get this silly this early in the night.
We've been recording for 2 hours now, so.
I know. Don't
It's
remind
not
me.
early.
Yeah, for plot, I'm Madoka.
Yes, plot I will give to Madoka as well.
I'm also gonna make this easy for you. I'm just abstaining because I don't like either of them.
Ooh, there won't be any tiebreakers. Nice. Okay, thank you, Cozy. Yin.
Does it help if I also abstain?
No.
does not help.
No, it does not.
All right.
You have
All right.
opinions.
My
okay.
opinion is that neither of these should be in this competition.
Hey, that's wonderful. Madoka takes plot. Yin, why don't you tell us what you think
Wait,
of...
I already told you.
Oh, yeah.
that.
Oh, wait,
It's
you're
sweet.
asleep. You're asleep.
Yeah,
All right. Oh,
so
wait,
did
wait,
I.
wait, you're asleep. Envy, what are your thoughts?
Just you and
on-
Envy and
Characters, Madoka.
Well, okay.
I'll do Raising Project for characters.
Ooh, okay, Raising Project. Oh, Cozy's an abstain, correct?
Mhm.
I'm also on Raising Project because there were more characters, and yeah, they were stocking bullshit. But again, Top Speed was my favorite character this week, so I was kind of like, you know what, I'll give it to you, Top Speed. But doesn't matter. Madoka takes characters. Why don't we move on to world building? Chibi's a sweep. Chibi's a sweep for Madoka. Envy?
Madoka for world building.
Okay.
And Madoka as well.
Ah, I see. For me, what did I put this time? This was actually a lot closer for me because I think they both did like decent stuff. But I was gonna put it towards Magical Girl Racing Project a little bit because it was like, this is new to me, I guess. It's like I hate to say that I'm
You're
like
just bored of Madoka, you can say it.
It's not that I'm bored, but I am kind of like I would like to see something else.
Yeah.
Screaming, crying, throwing up. Let me stop watching Madoka.
I considered sweeping Raising Project for that reason. Just
Oh
so,
wait, I forgot.
just so
You're
Al can have
also
something
a
new to
sweep.
watch.
Just game.
Yeah, you're also a sweep. So that's another one for Madoka.
Yeah.
All right.
And with
Moving
that,
on. Hey,
Madoka
Envy.
actually takes
No,
it.
shut up. We're doing this.
I think we know Madoka.
It doesn't fucking matter what we know. All right, Envy. Who gets you thing for production?
If it was just for the music, it would be Madoka, but for everything, I'm going to give it to Raisin Girl Project.
Oh, okay.
Raisin Girl?
Magical Girl Raisin Project.
You can rearrange the words sometimes.
Raisin Girl Project would be a much different anime.
Raising Girls Project Magically.
Isn't that just that buddy cop anime that came out?
I don't know, and I don't want to know. CT?
Yeah, I'm kind of having a Hamilton moment over here.
I can try turning her on and off again if you want.
Yeah, just smack him upside the head a few times.
Madoka has production I don't agree with. Magical Girl just didn't have production. Madoka.
Okay. This is the only one that I was going to give to Madoka, because, like, that opening and ending alone were going to get you a lot of points, but, like, I do like a lot of... I mentioned, like, cinematography. I mentioned cinematography for this anime. Like, it's going to get a point for that. Let's see here. We got 2 more sweeps, so that's another thing for Madoka. And now, as we move into final thoughts, where will our final thoughts go? Cece, what's your final thoughts?
May I abstain?
You know what? You might as well at this point. I don't give a shit.
Right.
Cozy, you're out. My final thoughts were Raising Project, and we got 2 sweeps for Madoka. Envy, where are you at?
Madoka.
All right, Madoka takes a full clean sweep. Magical Girl Raising
Madoka,
Project did not have any chance of taking out, frankly, the top seed in the entire competition. So...
You think?
Yeah, well...
Oh, and by the way, Al, I want to point out, I did enjoy this show.
Yeah, I know you did. You mentioned it multiple times, and I'm happy for you. I'm happy we can enjoy things. I enjoy lots of things. But let's talk a little bit more about things that we... Let's talk about things that we didn't enjoy. I'm kidding. I had fun with the basically Power Rangers category too this week. So we have Sailor Moon versus Magic Knight RayEarth. This is the actual one where I was kind of like, oh, I'm going to have a tough time with these ones. So let's start with Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon, first of all, we got the original dub. Was everybody happy about this? Are we good to continue with this?
No.
What?
I wasn't happy.
I like the other dub better.
I was not happy.
Really?
Oh dear.
Wow.
Oh, I guess we moved to sub.
A house is divided. The house is divided.
I'll watch it if it moves. I'll watch it if it moves on.
Yeah.
But I just prefer
all right. We'll figure out what's going to move on, and then we'll figure out what version I now have to find for next week, or the week of whenever. I don't know. Anywho, so Sailor Moon, we're continuing the adventures of Sailor Moon, or Serena as she's now called.
Ew. I reject it. I hate this localization.
Her actual name is Serenity, so, like, it's not that far off.
I
No,
just
it's really
don't
not.
like it. I just
Cool. So
don't.
this week we dealt with issues of I was gonna say unrequited love, but it's more of just like I want to get my thing heard on the radio, kind of thing. There's a pirate radio station in Tokyo, and they are reading love letters and giving out flowers to people that are actually sucking all the energy out of their bodies. And then, speaking of sucking out energy, we're gonna go on exercise crazes, and there's a gym with they're crazy trainers that are also gonna take you down to alien people pods, and they're gonna suck more energy out of you.
You could have just said pod people.
Yeah, pod people. Everybody's a pod person now. These got weird, but like, you know, I'll say my opinion, but like, yeah, we're going places with this, and like, things are episodic, but they're also like, hey, you're not gonna see what our next episode's gonna become. It's gonna be coming. So yeah, was that sufficient, or do I need to go into more detail?
No,
You're
that's
good.
fine.
All right.
Now, so quick caveat before we actually really get into it. So episodes 2 and 3 that we watched were actually episodes 3 and 4.
No.
Just so we're all aware.
No, I went by
If you
all of the
look-
lists that, like, I made sure that these things lined up with the productions and all the other sort of stuff. Please tell me I know what I'm doing.
No, if you look on Wikipedia and you look at the season 1 listings and you look at the thing, Deke did not air the actual episode 2.
Well, we've been watching the dub version, so it doesn't exist anymore.
That's why we should watch the sub.
Okay, you know what? We will get to this if it moves on. Cece, you're up for plot.
There are no notes. Don't even.
Are you sure? 0? plot in these are very monster of the week, which is fine, I think.
Stop reading my notes.
I can't even see your notes. I took my contacts out. It's fine. I think it's a staple in this genre. It did feel like there was an episode missing. There's just like a couple
references.
Yeah, references, a couple connections that just like didn't quite line up. Like, who is this guy? Why do we care about this? Anyway, fine, good for me. Yay.
So, minus the soul-sucking, energy-draining flower, Al, I really feel like hosting a pirate radio show where you just read people's love letters out loud. I feel like that's a very you thing.
Why me?
Al, are you into Delilah?
I don't know.
Wait, what?
It just feels like something you would do.
Why?
I don't think so.
I don't know. I can't elaborate on it.
You know what?
It just, it
we
feels like
we are
going
to come back around to this conversation when we have time. But continue.
They had a fantastic use of theming through these 2 episodes. Because by far and large, it's dealing with issues that young girls would be facing from society. Like, issues that they would feel internalized with. So, like, even though it's episode of the week, like, yay. Good, positive messaging for young girls.
Dude, my number one note for the plot is this teacher can't get a break. Seriously, it's like every, like, I can't remember if episode 1 did this, but it's like every episode is like the teacher has this thing going on, and then everything goes bad for them. I'm like, I feel bad for them.
It's either the teacher or the best friend.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we have to have some sort of connection back to our main character, so it makes sense. It just feels kind of like, give her a break, man. It was mean. But yeah, I think like I mentioned before, like in this first episode, I do like the use of everyday activities and vices that people like will overindulge in at times and use that as a means to exploit them and set up the plot and stuff like that, as opposed to just be like, oh, thing is evil, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, this is good. Do it in moderation, or like this or that or the other thing. Like, I like how they're doing that and employing that, like you were saying about theming and that. I think that's great. And I think that's great because you're also going to have like so many possibilities for like what you can do. And honestly, they were pretty creative, I felt like. And I like that. I think the PSAs at the end in this version, it's a this version thing. I think they're a little heavy-handed, but I do like how the episodes do them at the very least. So I'm a yay.
I had mixed feelings about these plots. I did like the second episode. And I feel like overall, like I do like the fun Monster of the Week vibes. Like it is very good in that way. I did find the episode that focused so much on like her weight and her worries about that kind of annoying. And as somebody who's dealt with like an eating disorder and stuff, I found it like, I don't know. It was a little too like, it didn't handle it very well in my opinion. So I wasn't nuts about that episode. And yeah, the PSAs were kind of annoying, but I don't know if I want to count it because like, it's not really part of the original show. And that's why certain aspects this week are hard for me to get into because I feel like this was like really localized, like hard. And I feel like it kind of throws me off a little bit. And that's why I kind of feel like I'd rather watch the original show, which is how I watched bits and pieces of this show before. And I feel like that's just the superior version of it. But I don't know. I really like following Usagi through like her, or whatever you want to call her in this version.
Let's call her Sailor Moon. That's the only consistent name.
Sailor Moon, through like her struggles and everything. And it's a really cute show. And I think it does have like some good messaging, but I think there is some like questionable stuff in the third episode. But overall, I like the plot. I'd give it like a light yay.
Yeah, these were definitely more episodic. I didn't really have like overwhelmingly like positive or negative opinions of these episodes and their plots like in one way or the other. I thought they were fine. The one about dieting, I was like, as someone who at that age was kind of like struggling with like body image and weight, like I also don't really feel like it handled it all that well in the episode. Like, as much as I could, like, relate to Serena and how she was feeling about it. But, Yeah, I would kind of give these plots a meh.
I'm gonna save my really hot, spicy take for characters, but I will say for plot, I do agree that I agree with both perspectives. That it is storylines that would deal with young girls' emotions and what they would struggle with as teenagers, but they also could have been probably done better. Now, granted, I was never a teenage girl. I had a sister that was a teenage girl, but I never really talked to her about stuff like that. But I can understand stories doing it better or worse, depending on how they're portrayed. But yeah, for what they were, I will say it's a meh. I'm gonna save my spoiler. I'm gonna save my rant for characters.
Speaking of characters, Cozy, why don't you tell us what you thought about them?
The bad guy went to the Clark Kent School of Disguises, and it worked.
It works so much more than you think.
He put on glasses, and she's like, "Who is this man I've never seen before in my life?"
It worked for Henry Cavill.
That's true.
It did work for Henry Cavill. I do like that we're being shown that Serena is a very reluctant hero. Like, she didn't sign up to save the world. She just wants to get with the boy she likes and eat cake. Honestly, that's a mood. I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna end there.
Okay. So I did look it up. You're right. These aren't the right episodes. Which explains my first note.
I told you.
It explains my first note for characters. Who the fuck is Andrew?
Yeah.
No,
That
I
being
know what
said-
I was doing.
That being said, and maybe this is a production thing, I like the characterization in this version way better. I did not find Sailor Moon annoying. I like them. I feel like everyone had you know what, this is probably a production thing, but yeah, I actually, you know what, in this version, I found Sailor Moon or Serena or whatever the fuck to be a much more likable and fun protagonist to follow. And
Wow.
yeah, I hate to say it, but yeah.
I had a completely opposite experience.
You know what?
But
I think some stuff is going to have to be saved for production because that feels like where a lot of this is meant to be. But yeah.
Yeah, now you know. Now you know why me and Chibs were so adamant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is going to be interesting. I feel like we're about to have a war
debate
amongst everybody about which version of Sailor Moon we're going to have to keep watching. So, but yeah, I was overall a yay. I liked the people. I liked following them. I enjoyed the things that they were doing. There's not a whole lot here of as far as character development goes, so maybe we're giving a light yay, but I actually enjoyed myself this time, and I don't remember liking the characters in Sailor Moon that much the first time I watched it. So, I'll take what I can get.
All right, I don't know. Big oof for me. I think a lot of it is the dub. I was kind of about the other dub we saw, but this dub I really just did not like, if I'm being honest. I found Sailor Moon way more annoying this time around. I don't know if it was just the plots or if it was the dub, but I liked her more in the first episode. I don't know. I still like her. I still think she's really cute and relatable and she's just a girl, and I like that about her. But also, I don't know. I don't know if I liked her voice. I don't know if I liked anyone's voice. I think I like the cat's voice better in this one. But everybody else is kind of iffy. Somebody had a weird, Boston accent or something.
No, her friend was from Brooklyn.
What was going on? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure she was being Harley Quinn.
She would just be a little goofy. She would
Yeah.
just be a little silly guy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She's just a silly guy.
Just a silly guy.
If it makes you feel better, she doesn't stick around long.
Okay.
Oh
Yeah.
god, they're gonna kill her. This
She kills her?
is another magical girl show where everyone dies.
It sounded like a southern accent to me personally.
It was
but-
weird.
It was not southern.
She has an inexplicable accent.
It was a weird thing that I just noticed. I don't know, I just, and I don't like the localized names. I don't know. I'll die on that hill. I just don't like it. But that's a lot of that is in production because we watched the specific dub. But overall, I think I still like the characters. I think I still really enjoy them. So I'm still gonna give it a light yay. Why are you cracking up? What's happening?
I'm sorry. I sent you guys a picture earlier. It was like a weird bootleg action figure called Senor Moon.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm thinking about Senor Moon at like a localization thing. What if instead of Usagi, it's Uznavi?
Oh.
I was listening to that today. That is so funny.
It's so stupid.
I feel like that missed some people.
Uznavi is
I'm Snubby, and you probably never heard my
In the Heights.
reports of my
Yeah.
favorite
Yeah,
things. I could do that whole
He
song.
is
Don't
very Spanish.
Well, yeah, he's from like I think it's the Dominican Republic or like yeah.
Correct.
When his dad came over on a boat to America, he said the first thing that I
US
see
Navy.
in America, I'm gonna name my son after. So he saw a U.S. Navy
Yeah.
ship, so his name is Uznavi.
Yes.
What's stupid is we said that joke on the playground all the time when we were in like kindergarten, and then I saw In the Height on Broadway in 9th grade, and I didn't even catch it. Does it in the second act, and I was like, oh my god, how did I?
Okay. Yeah, characters. I mean, aside from all of our little side characters, I feel like we really only have Serena Usagi at this point. And I think she is more tolerable in this version, at least for me. I don't know.
Them some
Like,
fighting words.
I guess for me, it's just, I'm not really someone, like, I understand reluctant heroes, but, like, I don't know. For some reason, the other dub was just rubbing me the wrong way with how they were doing her lines.
Can I put forth a possibility?
Hmm.
They really, like, infantilized her. Like, she felt way younger in the other one.
I didn't get that sense.
I mean, she is supposed to be about 14, yes? But
I thought she was in
I
middle
think-
school.
she is in middle school.
Oh yeah, right.
14 is middle school for
I
them.
always forget.
But yeah, no, like she does feel a lot younger in the other dub, and I remember when I was reading the manga, also thinking the same, and maybe it's just because maybe my attitude at her age was also sort of different, but that's difference between me and her as two completely different people. But I would say, again, she is more tolerable in this version for me. We don't really get a whole lot of the other characters. I feel like the family, with how their lines were done in this, was kind of funny, but also probably very different from how they actually are in the original. Again, a lot of the characterization stuff probably comes really down to production because a lot of this is localized. But yeah, I like Luna in this version a bit better because she sounds like a mom.
Yeah, I completely agree with Yan. Respectfully, I completely disagree with Al and Chibi. I could not stand Usagi in this dub. And maybe it wasn't even the dub. Maybe it was maybe if I saw the original sub, I probably wouldn't have liked her. Because I found her insufferable in these 2 episodes. In fact, she kind of ruined the show for me. I did not like these 2 episodes much at all, if I'm being completely 100% honest. Like, I thought, like, yes, I get it. She's the reluctant hero. She's the 14-year-old brat, but that doesn't mean I want to watch that for 40 minutes. Like, and I thought the characters were unbelievably idiotic. Like, the spa episode, I was like, oh yeah, you see all the freaking test tubes and the dark, eerie atmosphere. It's like, my suspension of disbelief went out the window. I found, like, I actually liked Usagi in the original dub version that we saw, but I couldn't stand her in these 2 episodes, and my mind was basically Luna the entire time, just like, pick your shit up, girl, like, can you do something? And just her whole, I don't even want to call it fighting style, it's just run around like a pansy doing nothing the entire time, but then, oh, you got the magical tiara that'll magically save the day at the end, except at the time it's other people that figure out what to do. So I know Sailor Moon. Oh, go ahead.
I don't think it's the dub you dislike. I think you just don't like her.
Yeah.
I liked her.
The parts you're complaining about, those aren't changed by the dub. Those would still be there.
I mean, I liked her as a character in episode 1. I don't know what the hell happened in episodes 3 and 4.
I mean,
So
she wasn't running around doing the fighting. that you're
She also
describing.
wasn't like, no, I'm not gonna do that. No, she wasn't that in the first episode. I think you just don't like Sailor Moon because
Yeah,
that is That is her character.
Yeah, well, I'm waiting for the repercussions, so...
You are allowed to dislike characters. You are allowed to have your own opinions.
Yeah, I don't like Holden Caulfield.
I don't like him either. I don't like Holden. I hate him.
Who?
From
We were-
Catcher in
Catcher
the
We were talking
Rye.
about
Rye?
Catch from the Rye earlier.
Oh, okay.
I hate him.
Oh.
Hate him so
okay.
much.
Wait, yeah, so...
I was
yeah,
like, Anakin?
Wait, isn't Catcher in the Rye by like a Middle Eastern man?
No.
No.
JD
That's by
Salinger?
Salinger.
I'm thinking about Kite Runner, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a totally different one.
I was gonna say, I'm like, what book are you talking about?
Nope.
And we get back to your thing.
But yeah, like, I just felt like Usagi herself kind of ruined these 2 episodes for me. So maybe she gets better when she gets her teammates and they basically put her in her shit. But yeah, for these 2 episodes, it was like, no, that's a no for me, Chief.
Cool. I'm gonna disagree with everybody here and say,
Wait, how does that work?
have-
We people have hate it and people have like it. What is that?
You're neutral.
They felt the same. Everybody's like, oh my god, she was so whiny in this one. She was so whiny in the other one. I'm like, she felt like a 14-year-old girl in both of them. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
I think it was just varying degrees of how whiny is she between the
Yeah,
two
she
of
feels
them.
more like an annoying 14-year-old girl here. She felt like a fun 14-year-old girl before.
She felt like a
She felt
3-year-old
like a
in the other
10-year-old
one.
before.
She did
Yeah.
not feel like a 3-year-old in
Yeah.
the other one. She was better.
I'm not seeing
I
any
will-
difference. Maybe I was the whiny teenage girl. So I'm like, either of these, I'm like, yeah, that's just how girls are. That's how I was. That's how my sister was.
No, that is not how your sister was.
You don't know. You weren't there.
Your sister.
She was kind of bitchy.
Elle, we've been together for like 10 years. What are you talking about?
I don't know. It just sounded like a funny thing to say.
She was kind of, anyway. I think it's an accurate depiction of a teenage girl in either version of this. Good luck trying to force them to do anything they don't want to do. They will put up a fight about it. They might, get to it eventually, but that does not mean they will not be whining the entire time.
All right. Well, let me tell you about world building. I don't know. I don't think we get a whole lot of world building in this other than the schemes of the day, which is fun. You know, it's fun to see how will they evil people do the evil thing today, which is fine. I would love it if they just got the team together because I would like to see what else is going on here. But yeah, kind of meh overall. I don't think I feel like there was a couple things that were established in episode 1, oh, you need to find the other Sailor Scouts, you need to find the Princess of the Moon, you need to blah blah blah. And I'm like, you didn't do any of those this week, so yeah.
Yeah, I was also very meh about the world building. Not much in terms of that. It was very just episodic, so I don't think it applies much to these episodes. It's just a meh for me.
I'm gonna parrot what those 2 have said. End of sentence.
It's almost like a weird sadistic version of the Ed and Eddie scams. It's like they're trying to instead of getting quarters for jawbreakers, it's trying to steal life energy to power the queen or something. Is that how that works?
Something like that.
We don't know why
man.
they're stealing it yet.
I do now.
Okay. They
I
haven't
do now
established
want
it.
an Ed and Eddie dub of Sailor Moon. I think that would be hilarious.
Just use the Ed and Eddie sound effects the entire time.
Okay. Just real quick, very short. Who would Usagi be? Which Ed?
Eddie, without a doubt.
No.
Wait. No, she'd be Ed.
Oh god,
Yes.
she's Ed, Luna's Double D, and then what's his name? Jareth Jedite?
No, I'm
Jedi.
sorry. We haven't met her yet, but Ami is Double D.
Well, for now,
Yes.
I think Jedite should be Eddie, and Luna can be Ed, Double D, and then the Usagi's Ed.
But Eddie, but you, as much as I don't like her, and as much as she gets bad scores on tests, I don't think she's Ed's level of stupid.
Oh, you are severely overestimating her.
Hey, maybe we'll find out at some point.
Oh well, that's my thoughts.
Oh.
maybe this is more of a character thought, but I'm gonna put it here anyway. Speaking of stupid, this bitch is like, I'm gonna suck out all their life force by putting them in these hypersleep pods, when he was like already collecting energy from them by them working out. Like, is that not compatible energy source? He could have powered his entire planet just from hooking them up to like the treadmills and the exercise bikes.
I kind of don't think that they were actually expending energy doing the exercise. I mean, they were, but they weren't collecting it because we didn't have that little like ghost trails moment of it sucking it out of them. I don't think they were actually getting energy out of them until they got on the pods. So yeah, that is pretty inefficient.
Yeah, exactly. Dumbass. This would have been mutually beneficial to literally everybody.
Okay, I don't mean to tangent so much, but like, here's a thought that they could have done. Instant weight loss. They just put them in the pods. You get more energy out of it, and it hits people with the let's do the fast and like dangerous method, as opposed to like an actually good way to do weight loss.
You mean the adipose episode of Doctor Who?
Yes!
That's exactly what we were talking about. We were like, they could have made all of the energy they needed and money on top of it.
What do they need money for? They're from space.
He looks like he likes to live fabulously.
You know what?
Yes, he does.
Fair point by you.
Boy is shopping.
But yeah, so Cece's done. But this is something we were talking about while it was going, and we're like, just a little. The brain cell just needed to bonk off of the corner a little differently. If you would have had it.
Oh God, is everyone in the show actually a cat?
Except for Luna.
Oh my God!
And not just it's reverse cat; they are all orange cats.
It's reverse cat world, where the cats are the smart ones with all the brain cells, and we have none of them.
Yeah,
we share one collective brain cell. But yeah, so for world building, we didn't get much on the powers. We only saw the same exact things we've already seen. We don't understand how she got them, why they work, or how they work, really. We don't understand why Sereno is the one who is chosen, and we don't really understand the villain's motivations and what is actually driving the plot forward at this point. And again, they're missing out on... She would have been completely fine. She wouldn't even have, like, Sailor Scouted them. She would have been like, take my parents' credit card. I'm in for the instant weight loss.
Yin, why don't you tell us what you thought about the production? Really lay into the production here. I know you want to.
I feel like I've kind of said my piece a little bit about the dub, but when we were talking about characters, I just feel like it makes all of these characters 10 times more annoying. And I'm not a big fan of localization. I know sometimes it can be funny and all, but I feel like it's almost like you're watching a different show. And especially in tournaments or things where we're supposed to be giving our opinion about a show and ranking it amongst other shows, it doesn't feel fair because I don't feel like I'm watching the actual show. And then I'm supposed to be comparing it to things that are closer to what the actual show is, or literally in the original language, or really like following how the characters are supposed to be, you know? So it feels unfair to me, and I don't think that it's right to watch it that way personally. It's just very heavily localized, and I can tell like a lot of the things are different. Like you can tell by the PSAs that like they really adjusted it for an American audience. It just doesn't feel right, and it doesn't give me a sense of like how I'm supposed to be watching Sailor Moon. I don't know. Like I think it's fun when it's like kids, because yeah, you're trying to like make it easier for like American kids to watch in English and everything. But I don't know. I just think, especially for a tournament, it makes more sense to watch it in the original way, or even the old dub, because I feel like it was less localized. I feel like the dub we watched before.
This is the old dub.
No, I meant the old previous.
Yeah, the one we watched the first week, not this one.
Not this week.
Technically the older chronological.
The previous dub that we watched, I feel like was meant to be a more loyal take to it's more faithful to the original show. And I feel like if we're gonna watch any dub, it makes more sense to watch that one, which is also how I felt about Tokyo Mew Mew, but Al overruled me on he just really wanted to watch that dub. But I don't agree with it. I just think it's not the actual show. It's a localization, you know? But that's my whole opinion about localizations and why I don't think they belong in tournaments. But anyway,
this is something you could have brought up like
I did bring it up about Tokyo Mew Mew.
You brought it up about Tokyo Mew. You didn't bring it about. We could have had an entire conversation like, wait, should we even allow dubs? In general.
I think some dubs are pretty faithful. I think some actually try to capture the original, but really heavy localizations like this don't.
Well, how do we judge that until we see it, though? That's the problem.
Yeah, that's fair. I just, that's my personal opinion about it. So I'm done laying into it now, but...
I feel like you bring up a good point. I will say this. We will have to have a conversation of any tournaments moving forward. We will have to make a hard rule of no dubs or allow dubs.
I mean, it is hard to know, like, which ones are faithful and which ones aren't until you watch them. And that's how it is with some of these shows where we watch it and then realize maybe it didn't belong in this tournament. Or, you know? So, like, it's not your fault because I think sometimes
I'm not saying it is my
hard
fault.
To know.
I'm having fun.
Regardless, I think, like, localizations can be fun to watch because sometimes they're funny and like it's stuff, but I feel like if we're comparing it to other shows, it doesn't make much sense. Anyways, rant over. I didn't like the production of this because of the dub, but otherwise, I love the animation. I think this show is really well produced in its original form. End thought.
Yeah, so for production for this, so I like the art style for this, the original anime. As I said last time we watched this, I actually prefer this art style over the art style for the manga and like the remake anime that they released several years ago. As far as this dub localization, like I prefer this voice for Usagi. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because this is what I'm used to. I prefer this voice for Luna. What the frick did they do with Molly, or Naru, as she is?
She was Harley
her actual
Quinn.
name.
I think.
I know. But, and the transitions from scene to scene were something. The thing about dubs like this is that, like, I agree with Yin, yes, like, this is probably, like, not it in its original form, as this is, like, way more for, like, an American audience, particularly for American children. I would say the actual, like, maybe, and I would say this is more, like, typical for a lot of, like, shows that get dubbed over and localized here in America. Like, I would say their originals are a little bit different in tone normally. Like, they're not quite as funny, but that's more because I think they need to, like, I feel like our style of speech in comparison to, like, Japan, like, they're a lot more formal than we are, so I feel like they need to change the tone a little bit so it's, like, more suitable, at least for Americans. As far as, like, this stuff is concerned, though, I don't know. I mean, it's okay. It's not my favorite thing, but... And maybe it's a little bit of, like, how they're doing the writing, but I prefer this sort of attitude with Serena Usagi more than, like, the newer dub that we watched the last time. And I'm not really sure why. I think maybe they were laying a little too hard into the more crying kind of thing, which is an aspect that I'm not a huge fan of for her character, so yeah.
So I kind of ripped on Sailor Moon as a character with the characters. I will say, other than the 90s or the 4Kids dub, or this wasn't 4Kids, was it? What?
No.
Who did this?
It was
Deke.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Besides the deekness of the production, I will say the anime still looks good for its time, and it does have an appealing art style, and the character designs are, iconic. There's a reason why Sailor Moon is still cosplayed to this day, and there's a reason why people still sell plushies of Luna. So, they're iconic for a reason. And for as much as the dub irritated me, the localization of the theme song is a bop. Like, I've heard the Japanese version a bunch of times, but the American version is still really good too. So, it's kind of like with Pokemon, like with the original 4Kids opening, it's like more iconic than the actual Japanese version. I now granted, both Sailor Moon's openings in Japan and America are the same cadence. They're the same type, the same song, just different lyrics, but you get my point. So production, I'll give it a light 8, minus the deepness.
Minus all that deep.
I just found out something really weird. I was looking to see if Harley Quinn or this dub came out first. Harley Quinn was first. She was 92.
Yeah.
And then this dub aired in 95. So you can say she is doing a Harley Quinn. I was going to say she's doing a Janine Melowitz, but okay.
Did you not think that I would know when Harley Quinn was from?
I don't know. I mean, Sailor Moon did first start airing in 92 as well. March 92. So it would have had a beat if it was dub first. But Harley Quinn and the English dub of Sailor Moon both premiered September 11th.
Yeah, well, that didn't mean anything at the time. So
It's just weird that they share that date. For production, I like the art style, like old animation style that I do like. It's before they got too bug-eyed. And I really like how they did like iterations of the theme in the background. Like when they go into the exercise club, they're kind of playing a jazzercise version. And I don't remember what it was in the episode before that, but they had kind of like a pop version going on. I like when they do things like that.
First and foremost, for production, I did put a thank you for Al for taking the time to find the dub for us. Thank you, Al.
I feel like this is the only time of the day you don't hate me.
Like, I agree with Yin. I do think in a tournament like this, it's really unfair to judge production with the dub in mind, just because it's not usually like the authentic experience, and you have much different viewing experiences. If anything, I think this is a really interesting case study in what we were kind of talking about back when we were doing the really bad dubs, where we're willing to forgive visual mistakes way more than we are audio mistakes, because obviously, like, the story hasn't really changed, the characterization hasn't changed, but we're all kind of taking different levels of I don't like this away based on the voice of the character. And I feel like we're also all kind of getting the story and interpreting it differently based on how annoying we kind of think the voice is. So I am actually gonna cut most of my good things for production just because a lot of it was about the dub. The only other thing I have to say, and I think this is 100% from how the episodes were recorded. Oh my god, the fucking shaky cam.
Yes.
I was gonna throw up. I was watching it kind of like upside down already. I'm like, oh my god, I need to like actually sit up. I cannot.
I love when you can tell something was recorded off of VHS.
Like, again, that's not like a production thing. It was just one of those things where like it did highly impact the viewing experience. And again, that's not on you, Al, because I'm sure this is probably the only one you could find.
Internet Archive, man.
Yeah, that was an experience. But yeah, like overall, animation's pretty solid. Even for watching episodes out of order, it's still pretty cohesive without necessarily having all of the plot elements, which works out well for what they were aiming for, which was very episodic monster of the week. So, like, kudos to them.
It also works out well if you have memory issues. Like, I don't remember this guy, but that could just be me.
Honestly, the best friend, the teacher, honestly, the blonde guy, like, I did not remember any of them. I think that was even in my notes the first go around. I'm like, who the fuck is this?
That was my first note about Andrew. Who the hell is Andrew?
The only other thing I think I want to bring up is we did have some, I can't even say light stalking. We had some very creepy stalking in this. And I don't necessarily... They made it into a joke. I don't think that was necessarily appropriate to put in the... It was kind of weird.
Alright, so I think I've come to a decision. We are not doing dubs anymore for tournaments because it's starting to feel like it's way too much of a wild card element. So, yeah. My thoughts on this, however, is that we are in the basically Power Rangers category, and god damn it, this is the closest I feel like we've come to having an actual Power Rangers episode. And yes, that is entirely due to the dub. It does feel like a Power Rangers episode. Them transitions, oh my god, bring me back to the 90s, baby. I love it. I actually really enjoyed a lot of these dub casts. Quick question, does anyone know who the blonde guy with the glasses, the evil dude, was voiced by? We've all heard him before on this channel.
No.
I don't know.
Is it Dan Green?
No, it's not Dan Green. You would know who Dan Green is. I don't know who this guy is. I forgot what this guy's name is, but he's our favorite teddy bear.
Oh.
He's Vladdy from Maze.
Oh,
No!
He's Vladdy. Your favorite communist teddy bear.
Oh, wow.
I found that out.
What range?
Because for a minute, and maybe it was just like the kind of character that he was. I know it's not the same person, but he gave me Kaiba vibes the whole time. Like 4Kids Kaiba, and I'm like, I like that.
No,
I'm enjoying
I can see
this. Yeah. And it's like, it's not the same guy. It's definitely not. But I was kind of like, what else did you do? Because I feel like that. And then I found Vladdy. I'm like, oh, he's Vladdy. It was like 20 years later, he does Vladdy. But yeah, so that was great. OP, fantastic. Love the old art style, all that sort of stuff. We give it a light yay. I'm mainly giving it a light yay, even though I loved it, because, alright, yes, this is a very edited version. I will admit that it's probably not the best, that they censor and cut out probably a bunch of stuff. So yeah, but still, I had a lot of fun.
So wait, does that mean you're gonna go through and get the sub of Sakura?
No, things are what they are right now. I'm not switching around any more shit. Okay? But moving forward in later tournaments, no more dubs, I guess. Which sucks for me on a personal level.
I mean, like,
but
my
whatever.
opinion is just like ones that
But I'm
know,
hearing it from everyone now.
ones that you know are severely localized, like those really old dubs. I think
But
are the
how
ones I'm
would
talking
we
about.
know
I
that
feel
in
like
advance?
we got to give an even playing field to everybody.
I guess
So
that's
it's
fair.
gonna have to be subs the entire time, or we only choose ones with dubs.
So for subs, it'll actually force us to watch it.
Or do you
I
guys
don't know
not
what you're talking
want?
about.
No, when there's dubs, a lot of people will tune out because they don't have to be reading.
How dare you?
Yes.
I would never.
Anywho, Chibi, why don't you take us into final thoughts?
Final thoughts for this. These 2 episodes, I thought they were fine. They're not really a lot to write home about. While my viewing experience with Usagi or Serena was a little bit better, it was not better by much just because, like, I don't know. A lot of it, the rest of it was very distracting with the transitions. But yeah, I would give this like a meh. I don't really have strong feelings about it one way or the other.
Despite what I said earlier, I'd be interested to watch some episodes out of context, like some episodes where they're all together as a team to see how the other Sailor Scouts interact, because I don't really know what they are as characters. I've only heard nerd osmosis stuff about, there's the different Sailor Scouts and some have a different personality, but I'd be interested to see what they are like in context, interacting with each other and fighting evil.
By
So
Moonlight?
that's... Yep. Yes.
I feel like the dynamics are a little bit different between the manga and this anime. Just saying that
Well,
for right now.
I mean, that's what Sailor Moon Crystal's for, right? It's a more direct adaptation of the manga.
Yes.
You know
Okay.
what we'll do, Envy? We'll add the Sailor Moon movie to Wedding Peach Brunch.
It's
This is gonna be a long ass brunch.
All right.
gonna go into dinner.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a brunch
Yeah.
and Brenner all in one.
But yeah, like, I didn't like these 2 episodes, but like I said, I don't want to completely write off the franchise because I know it's the icon that it is for a reason. So maybe I just had a bad taste in my mouth with these 2 episodes, and maybe I would be willing to give it another shot. But for these 2 episodes, I would probably say light nay, because I did like episode 1. So take my rating with a grain of salt.
Okay, guys, here goes the last of Cece's notes.
Yeah, I've done nothing for the next show. I kind of feel like Al with Raising Project right now because, like I said last week, perfect, no notes. I did write down one note, and it says healthy messages for young girls. This lady did not invent the magical girl, but she perfected it. Like, Sailor Moon's an icon for a reason, and it's because, like, this might be the ultimate magical girl show.
I'm like a solid 8 out of 10. I feel like this is a good magical girl show for young girls specifically. While I do see what Chibi and Yin were saying, where, like, with the Wait episode, where it wasn't necessarily handled the best way, I feel like the way they addressed it was kind of appropriate for younger children who are maybe just starting to have issues with body image and self-confidence, whereas they're not necessarily equipped to deal with the nuance that you have to usually address that with. And the overall message of that episode that I took away was you don't actually have to worry about your weight, which is good and healthy for young girls.
So my final thoughts are this was pretty fun. Although the version we're watching now has its flaws, it's still very enjoyable. I found myself, like, honestly a lot more engaged with these episodes than last time, which makes me feel like the show's improving. Maybe it's not, maybe it is. I have no idea. We're gonna have to figure it out next time if it moves on or not. Overall, light yay. Fun time.
I feel like I enjoyed a lot of aspects about this the same way that I enjoyed the first episode and the same way that I know I enjoy other episodes. It's been a long time since I've seen, like, episodes of this, but I know I do enjoy this show. I feel like these 2 episodes were just a little bit weaker, particularly the third one that we watched, which I suppose is the 4th episode. I still do feel like the weight loss stuff was just handled in a very, like, jokey and kind of insensitive manner. And I just feel like there's just, I don't know, it still rubbed me the wrong way. And I feel like Usagi came off, like, not as great in these episodes. And part of it might have been the dub, and that's why it's hard for me to, like, separate it out a little bit to how I actually feel about it. Same with a lot of the other characters. It's hard for me to say if it was the episodes or if it was the dub. I would have to, like, watch them all back to back. But I don't know. I felt like these 2 episodes were just a little bit weaker than the first one. But the overall, like, style, aesthetic, and, like, plot of this show is still really good. And I do still like the Monster of the Week aspect of it. I still feel like it's really such an iconic magical girl anime that has a lot of strengths. I just feel like these episodes weren't the best showcase of it. And I do feel like this particular dub is not the best showcase of it. But I don't know. I'd still probably give it, like, a meh to a light yay based on these episodes. But I know that overall this is a really great show. So I'd probably lean towards, like, light yay. But since we're trying to talk about these episodes, I don't know. It's somewhere in between meh and light yay.
Okay. Well, why don't we talk about its competitor for this week, Magic Knight RayEarth. So where did we leave off last time? A bunch of girls got transported to another world onto a flying fish where a magic man told them, hey, there's an evil shredder man who's about to destroy the world and we need you guys to get on getting rid of him. And now this time we are on our quest to do that. We meet a blacksmith who tells everybody, hey, you guys are gonna need some weapons for your magical journey of battling evil and whatnot, and we're gonna figure out how to do that, sort of, in a way, but we're also gonna fight a mud monster who's gonna invade my home, and you're gonna stop him. But then I need you to go off and get me materials to make your magic weapons, and I'm gonna send you through this forest of death and destruction called the Forest of Silence, because that's what you're gonna be when you're dead. And then they meet a hot dude with a sword. And they fight monsters and destroy a rock that makes the monsters monsters because they're not actually monsters. They're actually super cute animals. And then they're off to find... I was about to say off to see the wizard. No, they already met the wizard. They're off to find the ore that will help them save the wizard and the world. Yes.
Just a small little caveat. She didn't send them through the forest. They were already in the forest. They needed to get out of it.
She
That's
lives in
true.
the forest.
Okay, yeah, they landed in the forest. It's the Griffin's fault. The Griffin's fault they're in the forest.
No, the blacksmith lives in the forest.
Okay, well, it's her fault they're in the forest.
Yes.
They had to get out of the forest to go look for the ore.
It's like the commute sucks, but the rent is fantastic.
Exactly what it is.
All right, so yeah. Any other thoughts? As anything else to be added to plot?
Mm-mm.
Okay, Envy, what are your thoughts on this plot?
I will say this. This was probably my biggest surprise of the week, but in a good way. Like, I was very lukewarm to mixed on the first episode, but I really enjoyed these 2 episodes. I had fun watching the plots. I had fun watching the characters interact with each other. I had fun learning more about the world and the characters. I enjoyed the interactions that they had with not only each other, but, you know, the witch and the person that traveled with them. I'm bad with names, I'm sorry. And yeah, I thought it was a good, obviously it's not it's not an episode of the week type of show. I think it's a prolonged, serialized story. That's the word I was thinking for. It's a serialized story that, you know, is going to tell hopefully an epic tale. And you know what? I was on board with these 2 episodes. I was pleasantly surprised. So I'm giving it a yay for plot.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that all the scary monsters, they're just having a bad day. They're actually cute, friendly little critters. It kind of reminded me of, like, Ghibli films. How the big bad is never, like, actually that bad. They're just, like, going through something. And with some compassion, like, they become friends. And I kind of hope the rest of the show is like that, at least for the, like, minor enemies. Maybe not, like, the big bad, but I did enjoy that.
It is kind of monster of the week, just in terms of, like, they have a new monster to overcome in every episode, but we have a good overarching in, like, the more you know font. We have a good overarching, like, plot point. We have something that they're consistently working towards and getting closer to. And it ties into, like, a grander story that we're being told. So I'm also very happy with these 2 episodes.
Hell yeah, man. Plot is plotting. It feels kind of like the beginning of a fantasy game where you hear about a whole bunch of things that will be important later, but you need to focus on, like, tutorial quests. And we are kind of on tutorial quests. We got to our first dungeon. We fought a monster there. We met someone who was like, hey, it's dangerous to go alone. Take this. And then, you know, we went to a forest and fought some stuff in there and, like, met some people along the way. Like, but it's putting each episode seems to be putting the characters in new scenarios and challenging them to set up the next leg of their journey. And I like that. And I like that it's following, like, a really good, like, plot for this. So, yeah.
I agree with what everyone else said. I thought the plot so far is really good. I like how it feels like a fantasy game or a fantasy book or something. I think it has, like, a kind of classic feel to it that I like, just like classic fantasy. It has a really good vibe, and I like how the plot has been going so far, where it's like, kind of like what Cozy said, it's somewhat episodic, but also, like, I feel that there's more going on, and it's set up, like, in a sort of overarching, like, goal or plot. So I think it's developing pretty well.
Yeah, I feel like these couple of episodes, like, kind of get our team sort of heading in the direction where they're going to be going. So I would say, like, this does have, like, forward plot progression versus more being focused on individualized things per episode, since there is that overarching plot.
Okay, so Cece, you gonna take us into characters?
I just say no. No, I'm not.
Okay, Cozy, you take us into characters.
Okay.
I can't believe that worked.
So,
I can't make you say anything.
I mean, she didn't write down any notes. So first and foremost, I have said this many times at this point, and I will continue to beat this dead horse. Sorry, Envy. I am a Clamp girly. I love Clamp.
And part of the reason I love Clamp so much is because they really do characters well. They do them justice. That is, like, their hyper focus on most of the stories they make. Because without good characters, the story really isn't anything. And I feel like in these 2 episodes, the characters really got to shine and show that they're more than just the archetypes they kind of established for them in the first episode. Like, Umi's more than the stuck-up rich girl. Fu is more than just the smart girl, like, she's also empathetic and caring. Hikaru's not just a dumb bag of bricks, like, she does also have, like, a lot of genuine strategies and smarts going on.
Along with her bricks.
Chef's kiss. Love that. I also like that they didn't have them just magically be good at fighting. They kind of suck at first, and they had to rely on outsmarting the enemy and coming up with ways that worked to their advantage in what may not be traditional combat, like tricking the monster into the mud, or... I'm sorry, the magic doesn't work in this course. Through the power of belief. It's not magic, it's the sheer willpower. You will
I think they were kind of in a
destroy
clearing, so
this
maybe...
monster.
Yeah, I'll get to it later.
And then, like, my last thought for this is, we finally got Mokina. I love her. She is my favorite. She is everything to me. We did not get much of her, but she is here and she exists, and I am so excited.
Yeah, I'm liking our main trio. I think they work well together. They seem to be learning, which is nice. There is nice progression for them in that regard, but like also they are distinct on their own in that. And we also get some other characters who get to flesh things out a little bit, which is nice. I always like seeing creative problem solving and teamwork in people, and I'm seeing that here. They're strategizing, they're doing different things. Red figured out like, oh, it's made of mud, we'll throw it in the water. That's going to be a good plan. And then later they're like, okay, if we distract the monsters, we can do this and then do this other thing. And then like, I like that. I like that they're doing that. The people in this world are not very helpful though, and I don't like that. They were fleshing out the narrative, but there's this whole thing, and like, I don't know if this is a world building element or it's just them, but it's like, everybody's like, what? You don't know this thing? And I don't know why the girls are not saying, we got here an hour ago. No, assume we know nothing. Like,
well,
I'm gonna...
So for that, they did kind of imply Clef was supposed to tell them.
Okay,
they don't know that Clef
enough.
died within 5 minutes of meeting them.
Yeah, sure, that's fine. I have a problem with Blacksmith Lady, because she done did a dumbass for a moment. Okay. You set them up on their current quest. Go find the escuela. What was the thing?
Escudo. Like
Escudo.
They're gonna make those words out of deli meat.
Find the prosciutto. and like she explained this, like, I need this and I will make you magic weapons so that you can save the world. Okay, great. As they're leaving, one of them says, I wonder what it looks like. I'm like, bitch, did you not tell them what the fuck they were looking for? And like, you can make an argument of like, oh, maybe she knows about it, but she's never actually seen it. And it's like, no, motherfucker, you live in a library. You know all about how to make magic weapons. You know all about what they're made of and all this. You open up, take 10 seconds, open up a fucking book and be like, find this thing. Like, there is like, not thinking to be helpful, and then there's being actively unhelpful, and she was being actively unhelpful. Sorry. And maybe it was just a line. That line rubbed me the wrong way.
You feel better, champ?
Oh. You're cool, but you're an asshole. You're an asshole.
You need some prosciutto.
I would like some prosciutto, yes. Yes, I would. Okay.
Let's have it at the wedding peach brunch.
Next.
Yeah, I really enjoyed these characters. Like you guys said, I feel like they work well together and separately. I feel like they're setting up like a good team with the main trio. I think the side characters are interesting thus far. Like, I didn't have any huge problems with any of them. So yeah, I would say the characters are like a light yay for me.
Yeah, I think the characters are good. I like the girls and their dynamic. working together. Persea's fine. Fario, the swordsman that we meet in episode 3, he's okay. Yeah, I don't really have many notes for this.
Okay, I'm sorry. What was his name?
Ferrero Rocher.
Fario.
Fario, like with an F.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call him
No,
Ferrero Rocher.
Ferio.
His name is Ferrero Rocher and her name is Prosecco.
Yeah.
That's how I'm gonna remember everybody.
I could not tell how they were pronouncing his name. It felt like it was changing every time.
Sounds like a production issue. We'll get there.
Yes.
As far as characters, I pretty much agree with everything that Cozy said, and I will say my one note that I wrote was Machina OP, because like you said that we didn't get to explore much of them right away, or she.
Girl.
We didn't get to. We didn't get to explore her much. From the little bit of screen time and things that she did in these episodes, she did a lot to save their asses. She was pretty OP if you ask me. But yeah, characters are yay for me.
Mokina is an all-powerful interdimensional being.
Why aren't they doing the job then?
No clue.
Turns out this is the Dungeons and Dragons anime, and they're the dungeon master.
Clamp goes to the Full Metal Alchemist School of Rules, so everything has a price.
Oh, okay. Oh, how much for the house? Jesus. I think that's everything, right? I was
gonna ask Cece if she wanted to attempt to come around, but she went pee, so.
All right, well, You know what? Hey, while you're talking, you want to talk about world building?
Sure. So it's pretty slow going right now. More than the overarching, again, in the more you know font, more than like the overarching world, we're getting like little pieces of it at a time. Like in the area we're kind of in is what we're focusing on. So in these episodes, we learned a lot about the Forest of Silence, which, great. They did a good job at that. It feels fleshed out, minus she had the power of belief, which is somehow not magic. I'm gonna call BS on that one, but I digress. The only other thing I have here is Saphira relies on children so much that it's not really a surprise that a single adult managed a successful coup and overthrew everything, because Knights of Prophecy, children, Princess of Untold Power, child, like one man overthrew the wizard, child. Like, everyone's just a child. Why are we surprised that an adult was like, yeah, no, I think I'm gonna take this over now?
I think that was an episode of Codename Kids Next Door once.
Probably. So beyond the weird, this is a society that thrives on child labor, apparently. Pretty good.
I don't know that we got like a lot of like world building so much as like a lot of name dropping in these episodes, and it was a lot of like, oh, you don't know this thing? No, we don't know this thing, and it was kind of like, oh, well, I'm not going to fully explain any of it. Like, we're getting the most essential information. Here's the magic thing you need to find. But we're not going to say what it fucking looks like. But okay, all right, you know what? I'm not going to get into this again. I will say this. I like the different locations that we're going to. I like some of the different stuff, like the different monsters and kind of things that we're fighting. So that's pretty cool. Overall, I'm kind of a meh here, but I think there are good things here. I will say this much. I do think the reason they could do magic when they were attacking the stone was because they were outside the trees. I think the trees are the problem. They're causing like interference. But that might be me.
The magic is coming from a satellite. I get it.
Exactly. It's like cell phones.
Trees are evil. I've been saying this all along.
Yeah.
How does the magic blacksmith do magic blacksmithing?
Because she's in her house, not surrounded by trees.
I would say, like, whenever you have a situation where characters have been isekai'd or they're fish out of water, sometimes the world building can be kind of irritating because it's sort of just, we don't know this thing, and then somebody has to explain it to them. So I think, like, it felt a little boring and predictable for that reason. But, I mean, that's kind of just the nature of how it sometimes has to be with the genre, unfortunately. So, I don't know, it was kind of like a light yay or like kind of meh. Like meh to light yay for world building for me. Like, it was fine. It wasn't like bad or anything, but it didn't do it in like a special or interesting way. It was kind of just like, I don't know, ask and answer. So, I don't know, it was fine.
So, I mean, like, as far as world building goes,
It is definitely one of those things where, again, I think, like, I don't remember who it was that mentioned it, but with the name dropping, that, like, yeah, they're sort of, like, giving us bits and pieces of information, but as far as what all that means, we don't really know. We just kind of have to rely on the fact that, oh, this is the narrative and we'll get there eventually. I will also say that this is like a meh, mostly just because, like, yeah, like, they're trying to build out the world. Do I understand any of it? Still no. I'm still as lost as last week. And when I say last week, I mean the last time we watched this. But yeah, I feel like they're trying to do some world building. It just needs maybe done in a bit of a different way.
So with episode 1, I thought they kind of, once they got transported into the world, I thought they kind of went way too fast with throwing the world and its elements at you. And I thought personally in these 2 episodes they did a lot better. It was not as so much blasting it in your face versus, a steady drip. It's like you're naturally figuring out the world with the trio of the girls. So I liked that. I mean, obviously the main villain in the Shadow Council is meant to be mysterious for the time being, but overall I thought the world building was pretty good and it kept me interested into knowing more about this world.
So, the law of conservation of energy says that matter can neither be created nor destroyed. And this fucking Squishmallow is popping hotel rooms and banquets out of nowhere. There's 3 possibilities for what's happening. 1,
My God.
conversion. It's taking something and turning it into these other things, which makes you wonder what they're eating. 2, it could be transporting them, taking all this food from something else and bringing it here. 3, this thing just has raw, unchecked, beyond godly powers. In which case, why is this story even happening?
It's all 3.
It's all 3.
It's all 3.
It doesn't make sense.
It's all 3.
Told you, man, it's a dungeon master.
Alright,
She can take things and store them, therefore transporting them.
Okay.
She can convert stuff from one thing to another. But she also just has... It's not unchecked. It is very much checked. When I said it subscribes to the Full Metal Alchemist way of thinking, there's a price to pay for everything.
Okay.
But
Okay, so that sounds more like conversion then.
No, it's all 3. It really is.
Cool. So what I'm hearing is everything exists as a plaything for the Squishmallow.
Yeah, so the dungeon master.
Kinda. Also, she has a name it's Mocha. Put some fucking respect on it.
Mokuno.
Okay, I'm gonna need some help over here in about like half an hour. Is anyone free?
Is this something that's
What?
part of this,
What's
or like,
that?
what is this?
This is I'm going to murder my husband.
No.
I am now the Why Woman Kill show.
I have to be up in the morning to get ready for a convention.
Yeah. Let's hurry this up. Okay, so production. Oh, I'm leading production. Fantastic. Wonderful.
Yes.
Okay, here's the number one thing that I learned from this show. And I think it's something that we can all apply to every part of our lives. And more people should apply to their shows. More OPs need 80s guitar riffs. They hit that guitar in the beginning of that episode and was like, oh, yeah, this is what I'm looking for. Classic hardcore fantasy, kind of like magic, swords and sorcery, and a little bit of Zeppelin. Fantastic. That's what I like in my life. I like the characters and character designs. They're fantastic. You right, Clamp. It's good. They got some good shit. I love the old school fantasy vibes. Overall, the feel of the show, fantastic. There's a few spots of repeat animation that are a little and there was also like a really bad taste Native American joke that I'm kind of like, you didn't need that.
Yeah.
Light yay?
Yeah, I would agree. There's like some really, I don't know. Yeah, you mentioned the joke thing or whatever. Yeah, we gotta acknowledge that was weird. But otherwise, like, I like this animation. I like the kind of old school feel to it. It's got a cool aesthetic, and I like all the designs. I mean, it is Clamp, so like all of the costumes and everything are beautiful. And I really like their art style as well. The music and everything's good. I feel like, you know, aside from the occasional like what, I feel like I like the production design for this. So it's like an overall like, yeah, it's good.
The dub's okay. There are some weird lines in there, yes. Very much so. Overall, I like the aesthetic and the character designs. There are just a couple of weird shots where their cheekbones are kind of protruding, so it's like their head shapes are kind of weird, and it was making me a little uncomfortable. I don't know why. I was just not digging it. Otherwise, production is fine. I don't really have any issues with it.
Yeah, I like the animation. I like the fight sequences in these 2 episodes. And I also said that I liked the battle music, or the fight music, whenever they get into fights. I thought that was really good. That was a good OST. So yeah, I have no real complaints.
Love the fashion, hate the eyeballs. They kind of got the bug eyes going on. It's a little freaky. Oh, I really like the chibis running across during the ending. That's so cute.
Yes.
That was my favorite part of every episode.
Al, I'm glad you brought it up because I also wrote guitar riffs in the OP are unusual for the genre, but it works so well.
You know
It
it
was
works
just
so
so
well.
good. Do you generally love the character designs? However, I'm going to disagree with all of them being good because Ferrero ?
Ferrero Rocher, get it right.
Ferrero Rocher is not fashion. That outfit is the ugliest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life, and the slippers are a crime against humanity. Like, put him in jail until he learns something. That outfit, really, I was just like, ugh, and then he had a close-up of the shoes. I was just like, please stop, take it away. But overall,
Covering back in rocks.
I'm a huge fan of the use of chibis throughout the actual episodes because, one, they're saving on the animation budget, which does allow them to spend it on more serious scenes, but it also kind of shows the silliness of certain aspects of what's going on in either the scene or in actions they're taking, and it gives the important parts like the fighting more levity and higher quality. So, like, huge fan of the choices they made there.
All right. Yin, why don't you take us into final thoughts?
Final thoughts, I really enjoy this. I think it has that fun fantasy element. I think it has really good style overall. I think I'm enjoying the characters and their journey and adventure. And I'm interested to see how it goes. So I would give this a yay.
I would say these 2 episodes are like progressing our story, and I'm liking the characters. I would say that this show is, doing fine. It's doing things. So yeah.
I liked it. Yay.
Short, sweet, and to the point. Good.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to say the same thing. This is definitely a magical girl show. Wait, have they transformed?
The transformation is
transform?
the armor
And-
they get.
Right.
I thought they transformed and they just stayed in their magical girl outfits the whole time.
Yeah, the magical girl element is just the armor.
That's fine. They have magical powers too, so. Yes, this is a magical girl show, and it is also a yay.
What can I say? I'm a clamp girly, and this is a clamp show.
Yeah, this is a fun classic fantasy series, and I'm always going to be a fan of that kind of thing. Like, this is, I've mentioned Dungeons and Dragons once or twice at this point, and this is what it should feel like. It should feel like one part Lord of the Rings, one part Monty Python. Like, it's fun, and then add a little bit of Led Zeppelin on top of that. Just a little sprinkle, just a little bit, as a treat. And, yeah, so... yeah, overall, we got the main quest going. We have a couple smaller ones that are leading to bigger things, and they're interesting. I like where the plot's progressing. I like the characters who are going on this plot. It's got a few problems, but not very many. So I'm going to give it overall a light yay, and I think it's going to... I think I might have liked the first episode better than these 2 episodes, so that's why I'm going to light yay instead of a full yay, but it's still really solid. All right, let's battle it out. Only one can reign supreme as basically a Power Ranger. Let's talk about it. Chibi, you're starting us off. Who gets your yay for plot?
Magic Knight RayEarth.
I'm a sweep for Magical Girl RayEarth for everything.
Wow.
Whoa.
Okay.
This is such a turnaround from when you swept for Mew Mew.
Yeah.
Well, it ain't Mew Mew.
For plot, RayEarth.
I'm also Magic Knight RayEarth.
I'm also RayEarth. The plot is much more plotty.
RayEarth.
All right, that's a sweep for plot for RayEarth. Envy, take us into
He's
characters.
a sweep.
All right, you're a sweep. That's a sweep. That's a sweep. I get to go into my sweep voice.
Skip?
Oh, they're skipping. Oh, that's a skip, not a sweep.
Okay, I'm Magic Knight RayEarth here as well. Ultimately, we had more characters, they got more development, and they really were good foils for each other in how they worked.
So this is gonna sound weird, but I actually thought Sailor Moon had more fun characters. I like RayEarth a lot, and this was very close, but maybe it was the dub for me, but I found myself liking Sailor Moon herself and a couple of other characters better than I liked them in the first episode. And again, I said I thought episode 1 was a little bit better for RayEarth, but yeah, so I'm going for Sailor Moon on that.
Oh, I'd probably say RayEarth.
Also RayEarth.
What's the score?
Okey-doke.
Does my vote matter?
It does not.
No, it doesn't really matter at all. So RayEarth
Perfect.
takes characters. Why don't we move on into world building? Cece, tell us what your world building thoughts are.
Yeah.
World building, I'll give to Sailor Moon.
It's more just people being stupid than gaps in physics.
I'm gonna give it to Magic Knight RayEarth. I feel like they both had a pretty poor showing on world building for these episodes, but we had more going on in RayEarth than we did in Sailor Moon.
Yeah, I'm RayEarth. Everything that you just said.
Yeah, RayEarth.
Also RayEarth.
And Envy's on a sweep.
Yep.
Okay, let's go into production. Cozy, final thoughts on production?
Okay.
Or not just production, not final thoughts, but just production.
Yeah. I was actually originally Sailor Moon, and that's because of, like, the dub. So, after discussing it, I actually have changed that to Magic Knight RayEarth because I don't think it's fair to give that just based on the dub.
I was going to give it to RayEarth despite the dub, whatever. Like, I just love the fantasy vibes way more.
RayEarth.
Skip.
Skip. A skip and a sweep?
Sailor Moon's a little easier to look at.
Okie dokie. I will take us into final thoughts. Ooh boy, do I have some final thoughts for you. Strap in. Because I'm about to... It's Magic Knight RayEarth. It's just, I think my final thoughts should have, like, explained everything. Like, I love me a good fantasy. I love me a little bit of Zeppelin. Give me a little bit of this. Give me a little bit of that. I want some Holy Grail. I want some Lord of the Rings. You know what? We should just watch Holy Grail and Lord of the Rings back to back. That'll be a lot of fun. Or we should also just play D&D. One or the other. Anyway, Magic Knight RayEarth.
Yeah, I really like the fantasy vibes as well. I'm a huge fan of that sort of thing. I lived off of fantasy books when I was a child. And I like where this is going. I think Sailor Moon, unfortunately, just had some, like, kind of weak episodes this week. I think Sailor Moon's, like a great show overall, but I just feel like it, unfortunately, got pitted against something that just had better episodes this week. So I'm gonna go with RayEarth.
Skip.
Skip the sweep.
Yep.
I'm gonna say Sailor Moon. I'd be happy with either of them winning, but I think Sailor Moon is iconic for a reason.
I am also gonna go Sailor Moon, and that's purely because I feel like Sailor Moon is more targeted at, like, younger girls who would be more likely into magical girls, where I feel like I really enjoy Magic Knight RayEarth, obviously, because it took everything else for me. But I feel like it's targeted at, like, an older audience, and it is a little less focused on the magical girl element.
Well, Magic Knight RayEarth is a total sweep across the board for all categories, and they will move on. They are basically Power Rangers.
I'm gonna say I'm very surprised, just based off of the first the bracket with RayEarth. I guess y'all are just, like, diehard Mew Mew fans.
Dude,
I love Mew Mew.
yeah, I mean, I gave a lot of credit to RayEarth. I said it was my favorite of that week.
I think I
No,
chose
I know.
RayEarth.
For me, Mew Mew's technically in my top 5, and I think it will stay there forever. So
Yeah, it's still my favorite magical girl anime. It's just not for reasons that I can look at and be like, well, this makes it the best show. So, yeah, I'm gonna rewatch that at some point.
Damn, I kind of want Sailor Moon to win the competition.
I feel like most people probably would. It is definitely one of the most iconic ones. But yeah, so we have our Elite 8 now that we've done this. We're going to be coming back around again. So, Elite 8, we have our Dynamics Duo champion, Revolutionary Girl Utena. We have our Locked and Loaded champion, Grand Bell. We have our Theater Kid Energy champion, Princess Tutu. Our Sup Bra champion, Shugo Chara. Our Collect 'em All 2 Electric Boogaloo champion, Cardcaptor Sakura. Our I Just Can't Wait to Be Queen champion, Sugar Sugar Rune. Our Papa Prozac champion, Madoka Magica. And our basically Power Rangers champion, Magic Knight RayEarth. I will say this, almost everybody who was like the top seed in their category made it on. I think the top 4 on Mal are in here. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting seeing how things go moving forward. So, I feel like at this point we've all hit it. Is there any shows left here that are not like, oh, we like these shows?
Grand Bell. I'll say it now.
I'm not a fan of Sugar Rune, quite frankly.
I'll say it now.
I feel like it was lukewarm on Shugo Chara, but maybe it'll impress me next time. Everything else, I feel like I'm kind of excited moving forward because we're going to be starting next week, we're going to be, it's just 2v2. There's not going to be a whole bunch of shows that we're watching.
Only 6 episodes!
Yeah, we're going to be going.
Wow.
So we're going to be starting with episodes 4 through 6 next week of these shows. Next week, Revolutionary Girl Utena versus Grand Bell. It's going to be very interesting. They are on opposite ends of the seed bracket. I think Grand Bell was pretty low. It was like 29th, and Revolutionary Girl Utena is, let me see here, 2. So
Wow.
But you never know. There could always be an upset. Yeah. Anyway. Oh, hey, Cece, how's the scarf going? Catching up at all?
I just finished week 3.
Hey,
Nice.
that's lovely. Hopefully things go faster now that you have less stuff to go through.
Yeah,
But-
No,
less
there's more stuff now.
Oh, no,
Oh.
yeah, I know.
No, but it's less like decisions. I just have to get through week 4 and then like every day's already
meant, like,
chosen.
Your next couple weekends are booked out.
Oh yeah, that is true.
All right. well,
Hey, if
in
you want
any
to see
case-
like more slightly more real-time progress, I am posting videos of it on my TikTok, which is Sharon Cosplay, same as here.
All right. We'll see you guys next week for Revolutionary Girl Lieutenant versus Grand Bell, and we'll be seeing how the Elite 8 all shakes out. Let us know how your brackets are going. Bye-bye, everybody. Hey, thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon for notifications. If you enjoyed this video, give us a like, and if you haven't already, check out some of our previous episodes, our daily gaming videos, or our parody series Madoka Magically Abridged. See you next time!